Alright, before you see these speakers speak, I want you to have some things in mind and give you some introductions of what you're about to see and that kind of thing. So there are 69 different speaker slots. That doesn't mean that there are 69 different people. It just means that's how I parsed it so you could refer to each speaking slot. A number of these people speak more than once, and they have a lot to say. I believe, in my personal opinion, that they aren't just having an emotional time because of what happened on August 12th, 2017 in Charlottesville, Virginia, but also because they're a bit emotional and irrational in general, and you can see that by how they behave and what they say. Some of what you are going to hear that they say revolves around how they're upset with the police, they're upset with the leadership. You're going to hear a lot about ethnicity. You're going to hear a lot about the statues. You're going to hear a lot about the University of Virginia. You're going to hear a lot about the same kinds of things over and over again, but one of the very most important things I want people to hear is how they disregard largely the respect for law, the respect for the freedom of speech, and the respect for the Second Amendment. It seems that this town is extremely liberal, and I just want you to understand that you're going to hear a lot of super liberal statements. A lot of white people doing a lot of virtue signaling. You're going to hear a lot of people talking about white supremacy and hundreds of years of racial problems and that kind of talk. So get something to eat, get something to drink, because it's quite a bit of time and it's quite a lot of crazy stuff that you're not going to want to miss. You're going to actually hear what they have to say to really get a good idea of at least the most vocal people of the community. You're also going to see a few people that you may have actually seen from various videos floating around the internet. One of them being a trans woman, first name Emily. She was a person that is seen in a Twitter video where she's freaking out about the torch rally and where were you when all these people were coming with torches, and it's a lot of that kind of stuff. This whole event basically revolves around a General Lee statue. They also talk a lot about another statue in the area. They talk a bit about Heather, the woman that died, and what they're going to do about that, about if they're going to allow rallies in the future, etc., and how they can basically do that kind of thing. There was a lot of stuff. They are very upset with the statues, very upset with the rally, the Unite the Right rally, in which Spencer came, and they talk a lot about Kessler. Apparently he really upset a lot of people, and you're going to hear a lot of people making demands and requests to basically just break the law altogether to get their way. So buckle up, you're in for a crazy ride.
My name is Louisa. I'm a resident of the city. I watched the police not do their job all Saturday. They watched us all get hurt and terrorized. I want to tell you guys that you need to push to have Kessler, Spencer, and all of the other leaders of the alt-right and the police investigated. I want Kessler indicted for conspiracy like you indict the Black brothers from the...
Next person, please. I got the timer. Hold on, I'm gonna set your timer. All right, remember I'm gonna set your timer, Miss Hudson.
People that was just taken out of here, it was just a court case in General District Court where Kessler had a disorderly conduct and it was thrown out. So that's freedom of speech. You can't do that, and you didn't do it to that old man when he was showing off, when he was crying he had a back problem, and you watch your police handle him with care, and they just threw a woman on the ground. You can't do that. You know that, Mike. How much blood are you gonna wear on your hands? How much? Because you invited those Nazis here because you let them show off here. So you made them feel welcome, and they felt welcome enough to come here and take somebody's child.
I'm trying to come here again.
They gonna come back.
20 seconds. You got 20 seconds left. You done? You finished? Hold on, Nakai. Let me start your time. All right, 1 minute.
Yes, 1 minute. And if those were 2 black girls up there, you would have watched those police drag them 2 black girls football style, and you know that. That's right.
You ready? Let's get Ms. Walker the floor, please. Go ahead, Ms. Walker.
So when y'all are talking about governing, you all just started this meeting doing everything wrong. How could you, hold on, wait a minute. Why did you think that you could walk in here and do a business as usual after what happened on the 12th? And why, when you are repeatedly told, if you're feeling the pulse of the city, if Mike is he's disconnected from the community. If we are asking that someone else speak besides him, then you all need to handle that. The same way you all sat in the room and elected him as mayor, if he cannot speak for you all should not allow it. I want them dragged them out of the room, but somebody told officers in this town to stand down last Saturday. Our people were being victimized all over the city.
Thank you,
But
Kyle.
you can drag citizens out. Wait. You can drag citizens out of here, your officers, and look at the officers you brought here tonight versus who is usually here. What kind of statement are you all making? Part of the demand is that you all need to do some self-assessment because you need to go. Okay?
Thank you, Kyle. Thank you. Hey, y'all, can we settle so we can let her talk? Your minute's gonna begin, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Gail Wetherill. I'm a 35-year resident of Charlottesville, and I came here tonight to ask for an independent citizen inquiry into the decisions that were made by the leaders of law enforcement for the officers on August 12th. I'd like to know why Fridays after 5 or the Dogwood Festival has tighter security. On August 12th, I went to McIntyre Park to see who these people were. They were angry. They told me, they said, "I'll cut you, bitch. I swear to God I will." And you know what? There was not a single law enforcement officer in sight. Not a patrol car, nothing. If something had happened to me, how would you explain to my children how that happened?
Yes, ma'am.
And to start this meeting off with resolutions about tea and crumpet and let's shake hands shows an insensitivity to what people are feeling.
Thank you. Thank you. A round of applause. All right, guys, so we can let Ms. Parker go. Ms. Parker, your time.
My name is Miss Parker. My name is Rosa Parks.
Ms. Parks.
We have across swamps. We done came through the Underground Railroad. We came over here being slaves. Our time is up, Mike. Because you are fake. You was in our church. You and the governor praising y'all's police officers like they was doing something. July 8th, they did more shit than they did on Saturday. I was hit with a tear gas grenade for no reason. Getting pushed across the street with your fat-ass polices. So therefore, I have a fucking problem. And you got more fucking cops coming
talk. Let her talk.
One more second.
Let her
But
talk.
your ass had nerve to cancel the motherfucking kids back to school because your fucking officers was at another goddamn funeral. Y'all should have had these fucking kids. Y'all canceled it twice to let them fucking monkeys come up in this motherfucker.
Are you all? Just let him talk. Just let him talk. All right, let's hold on so we can let her go. Whenever you're ready.
Last time I was here, I handed you 21 pages of threats. 21 pages, including the types of terroristic threats that we saw. I told you then that we did the work because you could not. Because you were too incompetent to do that work. Well, we continue to do that work. You want to call yourselves the capital of the resistance? The resistance was the medics who saved lives. The resistance are the citizens who are identifying the perpetrators of hate crimes. The resistance is the clergy who stood there nonviolently and the community who came to their defense when the Nazis were unmoved by pleas of nonviolence. You want to call yourselves the capital of the resistance. Charlottesville is not the capital of the resistance. Charlottesville is the capital of the Antifa.
All right. All right, y'all, so we can let Brother Tracy talk. Go ahead, Brother Saxon.
Hey, yo,
Go ahead, brother.
I'm outraged. I'm outraged because I sat there and I watched police just stand by while you let citizens get attacked. You let citizens get murdered. That girl, I knew that girl. You let her get murdered. There was nobody blocking off the streets or anything. No cop there in sight.
It was a setup for the video.
Hold on, let him go, let him go, let him go.
Can't do your job and protect these people, because this is my extended family right here. If you can't do it, I'm going to get somebody together and we going to do it. And if they come back, they will not be walking out. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. Freedom of speech, sir. 5 years ago, we had a talk about freedom of speech. You said that I couldn't espouse my views because it was a family gathering. But neo-Nazis can come. During the Trayvon Martin thing, remember? We had a talk in your office, sir.
That you couldn't say something at a family gathering?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And the only thing I'm saying is I'm comparing it to that time because I was not allowed to say what I was going to say. What I was going to say was we need healing. All right? KKK and neo-Nazis can come here and say whatever they want, but a citizen from here can't. That's ridiculous. You just dragged out 3 people because they were expressing their freedom of speech.
Thank you, Brother Tracy. Let's give brother a round of applause. Next up. Brother, tell me when you want to start.
How y'all doing? I hope not so good, for real, for real. We want you out. And you're not coming back. From now on, whatever city council members that want to sit in this chair, we own y'all. Don't forget that. We are y'all bosses. You don't go by any views that we have. You got Prospect, Garrett, First Street, all of them. Do you walk through them? Do you walk through them?
I don't see them.
No, you haven't, because I'm there all the time. Let me tell y'all something. Saturday night when all of that happened, the buses stopped running at 9 o'clock. Did anybody know that?
Yeah.
So you got people that's working out there all through the nights, and they got to catch the bus at 11:45. Nobody, they walking by themselves, unprotected. Do y'all care? No. Do you really care? No. I think not. Do you care about anybody that got something to say? You ain't even listening. You just looking at me dumbfounded, like when you're out of here, I hope it represents to every other council member that we are here. We ain't going nowhere now.
All right. Thank you, brother. I'm sorry. We're gonna... Mr. Gallus.
Lord, forgive me for what I'm about to do. Tonight I am filled with righteous indignation. I am morally outraged. This shit has got to stop. And it's got to stop now. Somebody's got to be held accountable. Somebody's got to be answerable for this weekend.
That's right. That's right.
Teresa Sullivan's got to answer why she let those clowns. Why she ever let those clowns march on UVA and put the students and the buildings and the lawn in jeopardy like she did. And I don't want to hear that bull about she didn't know. She knew. Chief Thomas has to answer why there was no barricade between the protesters and the Nazis.
That's right.
And Mike, you gotta explain why they were ever able to occupy that park at 8:30 and 9 o'clock when their permit called for 12 to 5. Somebody's gotta answer for this. I might stop short of saying that the blood of those 3 lives, I don't give a damn about that minute.
All right.
I don't give a damn. Somebody give me some minutes.
Tom, there you go.
Somebody's got to be held accountable for not only the blood of those 3 lives, but for every injury that happened this past weekend.
That's right.
And I will be damned if I see another one of my brothers or sisters get beaten or die. Something is going to happen, as Malcolm said, by any means necessary. These people are tired and they're fed up with this foolishness. And damn it, if you all decide to let them come back ever again, it is on your hands and on your heads, whatever happens. Be it to us or be it to them. I just hope that there's some room left and there's some dirt left here in Charlottesville, because as the young folks say, it's going down for real.
All right. Thank you, brother.
And I'm calling on each and every one of you all to stand up tonight. Stand up tonight. Let not only the councilors know, let Albemarle County know. Let your neighbors know. Let every neighborhood in town know. We're not taking this shit anymore.
Thank you, Brother Don. Brother Don, let him go.
As I said, please forgive me. I do not talk like that. I'm sorry. I promise you I'm sorry. But I can't cry anymore. I can't be the peacemaker anymore. It's time for a change. And we as black people and we as people of color and all those who stand with us, we got to stop praying to God for that he'll send us someone. We got to realize that we are that someone. Accept the fact that if we want a change in this city, we have got to be the change. If we can't depend on our elected appointed leaders, we got to take over and be the change.
Thank you, Brother D.
God bless you.
Thank you. Tell me when you want to start. All right, good.
I ain't even got a lot to say. All I'm gonna say is that we want y'all. We want y'all and we told y'all. We told y'all numerous times that this shit was gonna happen. And y'all did nothing. Y'all had multiple opportunities to intervene, and you did not intervene one time. We told y'all exactly what y'all needed to do, and y'all did nothing. We told y'all that they were coming here to commit absolute destruction on people of color, black communities, and y'all did nothing. Y'all did nothing at all. And they absolutely succeeded. They absolutely succeeded in terrorizing our communities. Again, you did nothing. We told y'all this. They came here to absolutely wreak havoc, and you did nothing. There were several opportunities. Again, every step of the way, months and months and months and months of time, y'all had chances to do something, and you did nothing at all. And I'm disappointed in all of y'all, and I want all of y'all gone for that very reason. Let me continue. So, it took Heather dying, dozens of people being sent to the hospital.
Can he have someone's minute?
Dozens of people having to deal with mental trauma that they may never be able to shake. All of this shit because y'all didn't want to listen to us. And now y'all want to listen to us now? Now y'all want the statues gone. This is something that y'all want to do now. Shit that y'all been sold for several months. Do y'all see yourselves as heroes? Do y'all see yourselves as our saviors for doing things that we told y'all to do for forever? Now it's different because somebody died. How many times did we tell you this shit was going to happen? And you did nothing.
Mike?
Yeah, we want all of y'all gone for this shit.
Yeah, somebody acknowledge that.
Please acknowledge that.
No? No acknowledgement?
They don't care.
Yay!
Y'all gonna do nothing like y'all been doing thus far?
I think we'll talk after we hear.
All right, we can talk right now.
I think it's probably better.
Do our concerns not matter to you? Do our lives not matter to you?
Preston, can I say one thing?
Do our lives not matter to you? You can say something after you answer that question.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes. Your lives matter to us.
Okay, go ahead. Say what you're gonna do.
We tried really hard to get the rally out, and a federal judge forced us to have the rally downtown. I'm just gonna say, we did try. Preston, we tried really hard to get that rally out of downtown Charlottesville.
All right.
Because we're legally required to.
You never
You asked for a response. You asked for a response.
All right, next up.
What?
Oh, you want to finish? Hold on, let him finish. Let him finish. Let him finish. Let him finish.
So this is what I want to know. What are y'all gonna do when they come back? Because they are coming back. Because they've already said so. What are y'all planning to do when they come back? Because those statues are still there. That's their beacon. They coming back. What are y'all gonna do? I want to know that. Somebody answer my question, please.
That's in our business tonight. If we had gotten to our statements, we were talking about like that's. But we got it.
This is what we want. 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 We want Mike Signer, Kathy Galvin, Al Thomas gone. Because we need leaders in this community who actually will protect us, who actually care about our lives. Because next time it's going to be a lot more than one death.
That's right.
Thank you. Let's give the brother his time to talk. Go ahead, bro.
My name is Johnny Knuckles. It's not enough to change your mind and want the statues gone now. White liberal intellectualism is complicity and it's bullshit. Take the statues down tonight. There is no injunction on the Stonewall Jackson statue nor the Confederate soldier statue. Take them down. Challenge the Commonwealth of Virginia and the federal government. Take them down.
Let us do it. We'll do it free.
Thank you. I have a question. If we take them down, will you charge us?
Yes.
The statute describing the punishment for defacing a memorial State of Virginia code says if we don't plan to steal them, it is a Class 3 misdemeanor. Will you charge us with a Class 3 misdemeanor to go outside right now and take down the Confederate soldier statue? Take them down.
Good sir, can you keep going, please? Can you keep going? Let him finish his speech, yo. Please.
Stop being cowards and take the motherfucking statues down.
Thank you. All right, y'all, let's get this. Okay. All right, let's get this moment. Well, you want to get in line, sir? Well, unfortunately, we're not doing things how we normally do them tonight. This is an unusual meeting. No, I have order.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Jim Baker, city resident, 35 years.
All right, we're not going to be able to continue. Thank you, sir. Go ahead.
The chief should be here to stand in this fire and not leave his sworn officers here to do that duty. Brian Moran, who compared this to a hockey fight at one point, should be here to stand in this fire and not leave his sworn officers to to stand in this and do his duty. And one thing that the city council could do to honor these people positively is to pass some sort of resolution to honor the people in this community who stood up that day, and to honor the people who came from outside of this community, who protected our parks, who protected our citizens, who took blows, who stood up, who stood in the fire, who did the work that our officers could not do or would not do. And I don't blame our sworn officers. I don't blame the people who were ordered not to do things, because the leadership and the planning and the people who told them not to do that, you knew that there were 1,000 officers that were here in town. There were command posts who were planning for all of the things that were expected. They knew what was coming. They knew the violence that was here. You could go to public Facebook posts and prepare for this rally.
Thank you, sir.
You knew what was going on. The leadership has a lot to answer for. You all know what to look into. Do it. Be accountable. That's your job.
Thank you.
Stand up and do it.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Can we allow the next lady to speak? Go ahead, sister.
Officers, are we safe outside? Is there? Okay. It seems like there's a...
All right, y'all. All right, so let's let her go.
I meant all of us.
Let her go, let her go. Hey, everybody, if we could calm down so we can let her speak, please. Give her a minute.
On Thursday, July 6th at 4:49 p.m., I called the Charlottesville PD and I emailed the Charlottesville City Council. I emailed under the See Something, Say Something as per the Department of Homeland Security Anti-Terrorism program.
Okay.
And asked, should I continue? Okay.
Orange County, Virginia, do better than this police department. And they consider the redneck of the state. Please, fuck up.
So,
Go ahead, sweetheart.
thank you. To see that I saw that the Klan and then later Nazis were coming to our town, and to report them as terrorists. The response that I received was that the current interpretation of the Constitution allowed their freedom of speech despite their imminent threat to life and limb. Now, and this continued for the next month and a half. I asked if you would issue a permit to ISIS. The response that I received in writing was yes. Now, it does not slip past me that today is the day we're commemorating that women got the vote. Now, I'm a math teacher, but it doesn't take a math teacher to count to 7 and see the 4 people that the Constitution didn't recognize when it was written. If any other terrorist organization, domestic or international, applies for the rally in the city of Charlottesville, I ask you to do what the evolution of this country, which is that when the law is wrong, we stand up to change it. Please stand up against the wrong interpretation of the Constitution that for some reason is protecting Nazis and not your citizens. Stand by your citizens first, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me know when you want to start. Okay.
Like many people here, I stood some 30 feet from where Heather was killed in a terrorist attack. I watched here for weeks while people came in and gave detailed evidence of specific threats that these organizations had developed. In their chats, they discussed specifically running over protesters with cars. Why is it that city council cannot recognize white terrorism for what it is, the form of terrorism that's killed more people in this country than any other form ever has or ever will? Why did you not take it seriously? 4th Street was supposed to be closed that day.
It was closed. It wasn't.
Why was traffic diverted there?
Can he have someone's minute? Can he have someone's minute?
Why did the police stand back and, in the words of Cornel West, have to rely on anti-fascist counter-protesters to avoid being severely beaten and possibly killed? Why weren't police present when DeAndre Harris was beat in a parking garage right across from the police station? And what I would say is, the reason people are here tonight doing this is not just because of this event. It's because for months, people have come here and you sit here and you don't listen. You listen to your donors, you listen to the community you're around, but you're not listening to the entire Charlottesville community. And I would just say, Mayor Signer, your political career is over. Just with the political game. We're not idiots. We know that you've dragged this city along for months to avoid responsibility on making a decision on the statute issue. We're not idiots. Quit the political games. Your political career is over. You can stand on the side of justice now. Take down the statutes immediately. Don't get white supremacists this degree. Against an injunction, you can settle it afterwards. And it's deeper than that. The statute's a symbol, but the council needs to take action on implementing a new plan for public housing and redevelopment in this city. It needs a full independent investigation of all the decision-making that went into the police actions on August 12th and July 8th. It needs a full investigation and public accountability from the Charlottesville Police Department on why they failed to investigate properly the disappearance of Sage Smith. It needs a new effort to give the citizens of Charlottesville oversight and control of policing strategies, including when the Charlottesville Police Department buys weapons-grade equipment and its use of policies like stop and frisk. That's just the beginning. And if you're not going to do it, this body's not legitimate. The citizens are going to organize and do it, and we're going to take care of it.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Hold on, y'all. Hold on, y'all. Let her go so she have.
I'm Roselle Parker now. So,
Ms. Parks.
what are y'all's notion or ideas why y'all's police officers couldn't be there when we were held up in the church?
Yeah, amen.
Why torches were surrounding our church, surrounding them UVA students, burning some man's neck with a torch, and now he had a stroke. So what do you do at nighttime? Talking to you too. What do y'all do at nighttime that y'all sleep so well? Why us citizens with mental health issues for the rest of my life, like he said, I wasn't that long. I could have been killed because we was right there. And not only did we see the shit, we seeing people's bodies flipping upside down, cars running back over them. But do you have a proper mental health that's going to take care of all of these people in Charlottesville? Because I had Region 10 and I only had a goddamn counselor for 1 year. So y'all talk about mental health. What the fuck is mental health if you can't help the goddamn people with y'all's trifling ass? Wow. And what are y'all going to do with the people that's following us, trying to intimidate? We get people followed. We got people coming after us. We know it's 2 white cars, 2 black ones, a yellow caravan, a burgundy car, a burgundy truck. If we get fucked up, if something happens to us, y'all hear what the fuck I said.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Parker.
All right. Thank
Let's-
you, counselors,
let's get his brother a
counselors,
minute.
community. Thank you. It is painful for me to be here tonight. I know it's painful for everybody to be here tonight. It's painful for the counselors to be here tonight. What we saw last weekend was ugly. It was ugliness coming to our town and showing its ugly face. It was violence coming to our town, showing its violent face. And it impacted a lot of you people in this room, a lot of people who are not in this room. And we need to fix that. We need to cut, and in order to do that, all of us in this room, while I heard some true things that pain me to listen to hear it about the city. I mean, I gave a lot of my life trying to make this place a better place, and I know, believe it or not, These guys have put time into it too. In order for us to get beyond this, in order to get justice, all of us have to work together. We are all on the same side. All right. We're going to get justice.
Good time, Mr.
You don't go through what we go through.
All right. Let's give the sister, hey y'all, let's give the sister her time, please.
In the interest of community care, a Steelers fan, if I have your keys, come find me after I speak.
You wanna hand them to me? You wanna hand them to me so we say it now? Oh, you got it?
No.
Well, hand them to Don.
I am here to present a set of demands from Solidarity Seville, a network of community defense, racial justice activists across the city. These demands are updated from demands that were presented to Charlottesville on July 8th. You've had these demands. These are issues that racial justice activists and community members across the city have been working on, in some cases for years. These are demands for you, and because you should resign immediately. These demands represent the agenda for the real leadership that this city needs urgently and deserves years ago. These are the demands.
Can someone give her a minute? Yes. There we go. Go ahead, sis.
Number one, drop all charges against community hero Veronica Fitzhugh. Number two, drop all charges against the 22 people arrested protesting the KKK on July 8th. No charges for anyone tonight. Number three, initiate immediate development of affordable housing for extremely low-income people and fulfill the positive vision of resident-directed redevelopment from the Charlottesville Public Housing Association of Residents. Number four, apologize publicly for police negligence to the families of Sage Smith. Say her name. Faye Tinsley. Say her name. Faye Tinsley. Say her name. And Quinn Woodfolk. Say her name. Quinn Woodfolk.
That's been 20-some years.
And commit to an expansion of the investigations of Faye's murder and Sage's disappearance. Number five, cease the targeting of black families by social services,
Stop arresting people that call for help also.
Number six, end militarized police units like the Jefferson Area Drug Enforcement and its successor. Number seven, stop discriminatory stop and frisk. Number eight, end money bail and release people being held without bond before their trial. Number nine, remove all Confederate monuments. blood on your hands.
Thank y'all. Let's get a brother his minute.
Up there, I see that fucking smirk on your goddamn face. Yeah. You ain't doing a motherfucking thing. It's going in one ear and not the other. I should know. I used to do that when I was a kid. But I got smart. What we need, you don't do. So if you want us to take over, we will, because we sure the fuck don't need you. You might as well put Mayor West in that motherfucking chair, because you don't do a goddamn thing. With that goddamn smirk on your face, you should go outside and kick yourself in your ass.
Okay, that's a threat. And I'm going to call this meeting off. We have
Hold on. We're not relaxed.
We have a town hall meeting out there.
Hey, calm down.
I'm telling you how it is. I grew up on the motherfucker. Straight the fuck up.
Listen, seems pointless. We do have kids watching.
All right.
We have a town hall on Thursday night. You all, I'm going to ask.
All right. No. Got you.
That's who you want to bring here is Jeff Sessions, Justice Department? Yeah. They're going to solve anything?
No.
Yeah,
No. So we're gonna finish. We're gonna continue. Can we continue?
We have a town hall on Thursday night. I'm not sure
All right, we are continuing the meeting. All right, we're continuing the meeting. We are continuing the meeting.
With all due respect, this is crazy. You shouldn't have to endure this. You should.
Excuse me, hey, so we already know what he's coming up here to say, right? And we already have heard it before, but there's a ton of people in line that have something real to say. So let's try to suffer through this minute together, okay, and let him get out the way.
Thank you, Ms. Waldo. Mr. Hayden, I restarted your minute. Can you go, please?
Where's your charge for busting them people gang up? But you so first.
Go ahead, Mr. Hayden. Your time has started, Mr. Hayden.
Can I start now?
Your time is begun, Mr. Hayden. Please go.
Mr. Signer, it seems to me we should change your name to Dr. Frankenstein because you've created a monster and the villagers are storming the castle now. That's what's happening here. You're going to need to take control of this meeting.
You have 20
Are you
seconds
telling me
remaining.
I'm out of my time?
Mr. Hayden, you have 15 seconds remaining. If you want to
because you should have lived 100 years ago.
Let's let her go, please. All right, y'all. Let's let the sister have her time, please.
Don't speak to her like that right now.
All right.
All right.
Don't sit down.
Colleagues, I would like to cancel this meeting. Colleagues, Ms. Akers, Ms. Galvin, Mr. Bellamy, Ms. Fenrick, I would like to cancel this meeting. I'm canceling this meeting. We will come back. We have a town hall on Thursday night. Thursday night, we have a town hall.
All right, hold on.
got, listen, we have got to consider our rules.
I'm not, relax. If we can get back in line, we can get back in line. I'm trying to keep them.
By my office and when?
What are you
I understand that. I understand.
All right, so everyone, the meeting is continuing. The police officers are going up top. We need the line to go better.
Because they hit these two men. What the fuck is going on? They didn't have no answer. What charges on them?
Let me just say this. Let me just say this.
They were there long before he was, and they'll be there long after he goes away. They need to be able to do their work. They're too stubborn to leave.
Excuse me. All right. I think it's clear up here who's gone. Who's been one of the major issues since he became mayor. So we need to acknowledge that, and we need to make sure that he doesn't come back. Okay?
Kaya, all right, we're good. So can we get the line back going? You got the cookies. All right. So can we get the line? Can we get the line? Hey y'all, so we can finish the meeting. Let's get the groups back in line, please. Because there's still people who want to speak.
Okay,
let's go.
Sitting up here with you. I know as much as you do. So, who's next?
Mayor Signer.
Who's next?
Mayor Signer, if you're still anywhere in or near the building, you just truly revealed your true colors. It's hard to respect the office or the person when you conduct yourself in that manner. The community is hurting, and you need to hear what these people have to say. So if you're anywhere nearby, you need to come back in here, take this dose of medicine, and deal with the illness that you put on this community on this past weekend. And I'm still not letting it go. Those 3 people that were dragged out of here do not need to be arrested. It's one thing if you want to escort them out, but you should not have arrested those people. Mr. Hayden gets dragged out religiously, and yet he's not arrested. So why is it when people of color and the people that support them come up and have an issue, they're treated differently? This is the very thing that we're talking about from this past weekend. I beg of you, I implore you, please get those people back here. Please don't charge them with anything. I don't care if Mike ever comes back at this point.
They're out. They're out. They're not.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
So she just said they don't want to come back. You're right. You're right. Ma'am.
And one thing,
Can we let her? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Kyle.
gathers just, we don't want Mike to come back. That's like a virus invading your body and asking it to tell you why it's there. You want it eradicated. So he's been a main issue, and he needs to go.
It's not a virus. It's more akin to trying to put a turd back in your toilet, in your tail. We don't want him back here. This is ridiculous. If he can't stand up to the people and for the people of the city, then he shouldn't be sitting in that seat.
All right. So, we have about 20.
Thank you all for staying.
You good. You good. So we got about 20 people remaining, okay? This sister's been waiting. Let's give her time. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you for everyone who's already spoken. And I was out there with you all, with all of you on August 12th, and the police did not protect me. The police were nowhere when the terrorist car sped past me and hit my sister, breaking her legs. She's at home right now, but if she were here, this is what she would say. I haven't for 1 second regretted being there on Friday night at UVA or on Saturday despite being injured. It was the only right thing to do. And I'm sorry, I don't want cookies right now. I don't want another Heal Charlottesville initiative right now. I want some real justice. I want affordable housing. I don't want picnics. I want affordable housing. I want justice for undocumented workers in the city. I want the end to police brutality here because it's happening and we can see it. We are going to heal. All of us there, we're all going to heal. We're going to be fine, but this city needs to change. The world is watching us right now, and we need to set the example. Yes.
Hi, my name is Lisa Drain. I'm the mother of Rebecca and a Charlottesville citizen. I was in the church Friday night. I stood across the street to watch my other daughter get encircled by Nazis and white supremacists when she was trying to protect the statue. I saw them threaten her. On Saturday morning, I marched with the clergy. I marched with the students to Emancipation Park. I saw the police stand by and do nothing while we were essentially maced and shouted at and choked. And then my daughter was hit by a car, and I had to watch the video of the car hitting her, flying up on the hood and then pounding down on the sidewalk. She got a concussion, she had stitches, and she has 2 broken legs. Instead of starting UVA this week as a 4th year, she will be in the hospital having surgery on her directly again. But I have two things to ask you. One, I want you to revise the injury number. Every time we see the reported of 19 injured, that is incorrect. Those are the numbers from the UVA hospital. My daughter went to Martha Jefferson. There were at least a dozen people at Martha Jefferson that have not been counted. We have called NBC 29. We have called the Daily Progress. Nobody has revised those numbers. We want our daughter and other people to be counted. 19 is not the number. At least 30 went to the hospital and many more were injured that did not go to hospitals. Please revise that injured number. I don't know, but I'm not putting out one penny of my money for any of the mental health or medical expenses that we're going to have. The other thing I just want to say is the reason my daughter and okay.
Hold on. Let the mother finish. Let her finish. Y'all, let her finish. Let the mom finish, please. Everyone, can the mother finish?
Let her finish.
Let her finish.
I'm sorry, I had
Let
to leave.
her finish, please.
Okay. I will listen to everything after. I'm sorry.
Let her.
Thanks. Thank you. So, just the last thing I want to say is the reason my two daughters and I were out there protesting and putting our bodies on the line is because we knew that so many others could not. They didn't feel safe coming out. We did it. But it's not about statues. It's not about the statues. We were out there because our community is hurting. We want to see changes in affordable housing, in police brutality, in the inequities that we see in our schools and in our health care. Please, I don't care if well, I do care. I don't want the statues there, but really what I want to see is meaningful changes in our community. Thank you. I appreciate your
You're delaying this right now, so could you leave real quick so we can get back to what we're doing? Can you go out there so we can get back to our community talk? Yeah. Can you go? The 6 that was here just now, they were fine. Can you leave right now? You brought murderers to our town. You brought, hold on. You know, y'all want to know what, you want to know what August 12th did to me? I have PT fucking SD from that shit. I had to jump the fuck out of the way of that car. I had to watch the fucking bodies fly from the fucking hit, getting hit by the fucking car. I can't get this shit on my fucking head.
You gotta say it, sorry.
I can't. Sorry doesn't bring Heather back. Sorry doesn't bring the bones of the injured back. Sorry doesn't get the PTSD out of my motherfucking head. This shit fucking hurts. We told y'all over and over again not to allow this shit to happen in my fucking town. Y'all did it any fucking way, right? Now we got a death. We got fucking every fucking couple of minutes I see these bodies flying in my fucking head. Every couple of minutes. This is what that shit did to me. I can't sleep. I can't eat right. I see blood on the fucking ground every fucking day. I went over there and helped her daughter out to make sure when she had that fucking concussion, I helped get her off the fucking ground. This is what this shit did to me. This is what it did to our city. We
Sir, I just have to answer this. The mayor in this city has no role with the police whatsoever. No legal role. No role. No role. No role. No role. No role.
Colleagues. Colleagues, can we please stand? We need to stand and apologize. All of us.
Hold on, can I say something? The way our town works, we can't blame Maurice. And listen, everybody, I've been clear, right, on how I feel about people over the years. The way our town works, the people who are actually in charge, we can't blame our police, chief, or the city manager. There are people pulling strings in this town all the time, preventing people who are authentic from doing their work. And that is part of the change that we need to demand. When we see people in place, preventing them from doing their work, we need to demand that they go. Demand that they go. People like Mike have been in charge for a long time. So don't think, if we think that our chief of police or our city manager has real power in this town, you all are not even at the starting point. Oh, no. No, we're not. Amen. Thank you.
Brother, you want to go? Let's allow this brother to go. We got about 12 more people. You want to go ahead? Go ahead.
My name is Eddie Jackson.
Well, you can be next.
Wes, I know you. Our wives work together. You've met some of my family already. You guys probably know the name Marcus Martin. He's in the infamous photo of flipping over the car. That's my wife's twin brother. So you're talking about affected by this. My whole family was affected by it. I have two little boys, a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old. And I'm trying to figure out, if you couldn't protect this city, who's going to protect my kids? I'm having a hard time explaining to my little boys why Uncle Marcus is flipping over a car. And they can't grasp that. So how can you help us understand that? I'm done.
One more time. I don't know where that camera at, but wherever that camera at, you need to look at these people like right now. Like, it's right here, bro. It's right here, bro. Well, you want to see him? You want to see him? Like, to be honest.
That's a different camera. Yeah,
that's good. That's good, because they need to look at it. They need to look at it. But to be honest with you, this is to the people that's watching. You see all of us out here, without y'all, they're going to be sitting in this chair for the next 20, 30 years. The ones who's watching the screen right now on Instagram, on Facebook, wherever you're watching the TV, if you don't come out here and talk with us, what are we going to do? Your career is done. I want you to know this. No governor, no Senate, no nothing, whatever you was trying to do. You're going to have to go work a 9 to 5 like we do and see how it feels. You feel me, bro? You feel me? But this goes for all of y'all. This goes for all of y'all. I want y'all to know that. I want y'all to know that. So this camera that's watching all of these people, this is us. We the people. We the motherfucking people. And this is our city. Our city. So this goes out to everybody who's watching and everything. This is our city, man.
Thank you. Next up, brother.
I don't have a whole lot to add that hasn't been said already. I was there, 10 feet, saw the bodies flying. I saw a young girl who couldn't have been more than 100 pounds soaking wet, crawling on the ground, bleeding. She couldn't get up. She collapsed. I didn't know what to do. I was scared as shit. I had no idea what to do. And then I looked around for any cops or anybody that could maybe help. Nothing. I swear it was at least 5-10 minutes before anybody. The only people that cared were the medics that were with the counter-protesters. That's who saved those people that day. But you know what I did see right after that? You know what my first memory of law enforcement was after this happened? this MRAP with an armored individual pointing a gun at us.
Let me see that.
Pointing weapons at the victims. Pointing a gun at the people who had just been victimized. Who have to live with what they saw for the rest of their lives. I'm not the same person I was before that day. I'm not. I've changed. I can feel the change inside of me. All right? But you know what the bad thing for y'all is up here? The change that happened in me, it's not one y'all are gonna like.
Thank you. Next up, please. Hold on 1 second before you go. If there's anyone else, because it looks like, excuse me, we only have a few more people. If there's anyone else, please come in line. We're not stopping it. So if y'all can, if you want to speak, just please feel free to come in line. We're not doing a limit. We're not saying there's only X amount of people. So let's come in. We're going to make sure everybody gets their voice heard, okay? All right, you good, sir?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Signer, what you just did was a disgrace. We were all saying, don't go. I mean, at this point, we want you gone, but this woman here was trying to get you to stay. I was up here saying, what are you doing? Where do you have to be right now? And you left. That's a disgrace. You cannot be a leader of this town. You can't. But that's not even, that's not what I wanted to say, because I had thoughts before you did that, but I just had to say that. But my concern is with why I live in Charlottesville. There was a Nazi rally in our town, someone died, and I wake up after last Saturday and I see that statues are coming down overnight in Baltimore. Statues are coming down overnight in Texas. Lexington. Why do these cities have more moral clarity than we do when we just had a murder and a Nazi rally in our town? I would like to use I don't know if I have much time left, but I would like to use the rest of my time to look you each in the eye and ask you again, because someone was asking earlier, can the statues come down tonight? The statue in Lee Park, can it come down tonight? And we want an answer right now. I know there's all sorts of inequities in the public housing and everything, and that's very important, and everyone spoke to that eloquently. But this rally started over the stupid statue that is a monument to white supremacy, and it was meant to disenfranchise and to intimidate. It should never have gone up to begin with. And so, can it go down tonight, Mr. Fenwick?
We can take it down.
Will you? Can it go down tonight?
Mr. Bellamy, as the person who tried to make the motion 2 years ago to remove the statues, can I at least give some answer? It's not probably the answer you want, and I accept that, but
Wants to speak?
part of what we have is the state of Virginia, which is a white supremacist state.
Yeah. Let her speak, my man. Bro.
In Texas, they're already down. In Baltimore, they're already down. Why isn't it down?
I can answer later. I can answer later.
Take them down! Take them down! Take them down! Take them down! Take them down!
So it appears, listen.
May I try again?
Listen.
I wanted
give her
these
a minute so
statues
she
down
can-
6 years ago. I've been pushing for these statues to come down.
Let her finish, please.
The important thing that we all have to do after today is over, and I'm hearing you, and I'm glad that you're here, and I'm glad that we're listening, and I'm glad we're sitting here and listening to you all. But I will say that you can't just show up to city council meetings. You have to show up to the state legislature, because Virginia is different. Virginia has laws that restrict what we can do, and we can't. We would...
Hold on. No. So to your point, right, you know how much I want them going. We've been legally told, if we as council, right, as individuals, if we say, yeah, go out there and take them down tonight, we're going to be personally sued, okay?
And jailed.
We're going to be, my wife has told me we ain't bringing in no more personal lawsuits to my house. So I'm sorry. No, it's not through the city. We will be personally held liable, and we will be received a class 6 felony. That is true.
Here's my.
Mr. Brown, may you clarify?
If y'all don't want to take
No, they've already said they will.
I don't mind wearing the
People will get hurt.
You guys don't do
Will.
nothing. You might as well tell felonies to let us bear arms even though we're a felon.
Will each of you?
I showed it how well do they still blow it.
Will each of you commit to doing everything you can to get them down?
Absolutely.
I'm with it.
Each of you, will you? Yes?
100%.
Will you, Mr. Jones?
City Council's already voted to take down the Lee statue.
And we were
Okay,
going
I just want to make sure. I mean, it's not,
We were
they're not
gonna do
down yet.
Jackson tonight.
And we got a
because there's a
resolution for
lawsuit.
Jackson tonight. I agree. Well, I agree. We need action. Say that. I didn't hear you.
Voting and action are two
I agree.
different things.
I'm with you.
all know that.
Yep.
I agree.
What about you? On Friday, I called for a special session of the legislature so they could remove the law that is tying our hands.
Oh, yeah.
Prove it.
Yes, both of them are coming down. They're both coming down.
When it was approved with the last city council and it wasn't taken down. So why it wasn't taken down then, we would not be dealing with this bullshit now.
Goddamn right.
This year, we finally had 3 votes, for which I'm...
You know your politics. The House and the Senate, both in Virginia, are Republican. If you hold a legislative session, a special session, you're still going to get the same amount of Republicans who are going to say no to taking out a statute. That's what a capital of resistance is about you stepping the fuck up and actually saying,
Do you want me to respond to that? Okay.
No.
So let this gentleman go.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead, sir.
Go, sir.
Hello,
Go
my
ahead,
name is
sir.
Barrett Harbor. I signed up to get on the list, and this thing fell completely apart. This has just turned into a circus. This reflects the attitude of the whole city. There's no respect for law and order. You guys aren't upholding it. You can roll you. Hey, I listen to all you guys.
Let him have his minute. Let him have his minute. Let him have his minute.
I agree with you on a lot of these points.
Let him have his minute. Let him finish his minute.
Look, you guys, it was supposed to be peaceful protests. You let it. No.
Let him have his minute.
The police should have done a lot more. They should have segregated the crowds. It should have been completely separate. There were permits for each of the places. Look, you may not like the Nazis, and I really don't like
Sir,
the
you
Nazis.
need to finish. You only have 37 seconds left. Say what you need to say.
Everybody took the time. I'm going to get my time. All right?
Say what you need to say. Go ahead.
We can hear you.
I don't like the Nazis at all. Trust me. I don't want them here. I don't want any of those protesters here. It's ridiculous.
You're ridiculous.
Look, I'm just here to condemn all the violence that happened, especially on the right. But the problem is you guys are playing right into these people's hands, okay? They want you to get out there and protest and fight them. They want you to have a reaction. You have to be smarter than that. You have to have a measured reaction to this. You let them have their little protest, and then you go make fun of them. That's what you do. It's that easy. You don't have to turn it into a complete riot. You don't have to try to go to court.
Sir, that's your minute. We've been following a simple protocol. If anybody will give you a minute, is anyone willing to give you your time? No one is giving you their time, sir. Sir, no one is giving you their minute.
There should have been no protest
Everyone-
on 4th Street.
Sir, no one is giving you their minute.
Where are the police? We need. Come on. We just. No. I was just saying. Just in case. No. We need to have some. No. So you keep. All I'm saying, we need to let people be heard. We need to let people be heard.
Sir, you've already had your minute. No one else giving you their time. No one is giving you their time.
I agree with you guys.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, can you guys move? Archie, can you please have a minute? Hey, y'all can you move? Please have a minute.
Hold on.
Next Next up.
All right, we're keeping on with Mr. Bellamy's running the hearing.
Next up. Next up. Thank you. Next up. Next up, Mr. Collins.
Good evening. I'm Brandon Collins.
Good evening.
It's hard for me to gather into words the things I'm thinking. I, like pretty much all of this town, am completely rattled by these experiences. I disagree with the last speaker. These people came here to do harm to the city of Charlottesville and to the people of Charlottesville. They were explicit about it, and you guys knew it.
Yes.
And that hurts. All trust and confidence that I ever had in this government, and those who already lost that trust and confidence a long time ago, their suspicions were confirmed. You guys have not cared 1 cent for the well-being of people in this town. You know who has, and who has shown leadership in this town, are the people of Charlottesville who showed up. The ones who showed up, who brought maylocks and water and their cell phones and their security folks and their fighters from out of town and their clergy from the churches they belong to. Those are the people that stood up for this town. And this city council and this city management did nothing to protect us. You were warned. You had the same intelligence that everybody else did. You knew people would get beaten in the streets, and that's what happened. There was a terrorist attack, and that's not the only violence that happened. If you look at the videos, Mr. Signer, because you weren't there, you cannot experience it. Those videos scratch the surface. The pain you're hearing tonight barely scratched the surface of what happened in this town, and you guys let that happen. And that's all I'm going to say, because you're going to hear a whole lot of criticism from me moving forward. I sent you emails. I didn't get a response. I got one response from Wes that said thanks. About shutting down the streets, about protecting black neighborhoods near downtown. The only police interaction with protesters on Saturday was when they were confronting black residents from Friendship Court who had beaten back violent Nazis from coming into their neighborhood. And the police confronted them, of all people, as you did this evening. When people are expressing their pain, the only thing the police have done in regards to any of this is to kick people out of these chambers and lock them in vans. All right? Who's the Nazi here? Right? Donald Trump is saying there's two sides. We heard this two sides argument from this city council for months ahead of this.
Yes, we did.
It's disgusting, and no word should come out of any of y'all's mouths moving forward without first saying you're sorry and without first figuring out how you're going to make amends. Also, fuck white supremacy.
All right. Second that. Let's give. All right, can someone get this brother a charger? Let's get this brother his time, please. Thank you.
I don't have near as much to say this time as I did last time. I'm sure you'll all be happy to hear. Most of the time, the apathy and inaction of the powerful hurts people slowly. It's the slow burn of the African American community of Charlottesville dwindling from 53% at the time of emancipation to what it is today. It's the slow burn of housing price increases across the city and the county as poor and working class families are pushed out because they can't afford to live here anymore. But what we saw last week was when the inaction and apathy of this body hurt quickly, and it hurt us deep. These people behind you, together, we are going to heal.
Another minute, y'all. Somebody give us time. Thank you.
We are going to move forward. We are going to protect our community and protect our people. I want to talk to the folks out here, council. Sorry, excuse me. All I have to say, folks, is moving forward, educate, agitate, and organize.
Thank y'all. Let's give her her time. You ready, ma'am? Let me know. Yes. Okay, thank you.
Hi, my name's Donna Carty. The first thing I have to say is I told you so. I went to the city manager's office. I didn't get to speak to him. I got to speak to the assistant city manager, and I said, I'm a child of the 60s. I've seen this movie before, and I know how it ends. It ends in death. I told you so. Okay, second, drop the charges on anybody that is a member of Antifa. The charges on August 12th, they earned the dropping of any charges that were put on them on July 8th. Third, I don't accept this idea that the police were outgunned. I didn't see the Nazis having any tanks. I didn't see them wearing near the kind of protection that your police did. I didn't. This idea that our police were outgunned is nonsense. And I'm not buying it. Fourth, remove those statues. Now. Okay, last. I want to translate for you what the Nazis mean when they say, we're going to hold a rally in your town. What they're saying is, we are going to commit as many hate crimes as possible in as small time as possible, in a small area as possible, and we're going to do so many that we're going to get away with almost all of them. And so far, they are. Because how few of the Nazis have been arrested? How few of the rest of the Nazis have even been indicted? And that's what I have to say.
Thank you. You ready, sir?
Yeah. My solution to the problem is love. Hate can never equate hate. King, Gandhi, never equated this type of action. Now, my point here is love. Agape, philia, and eros. Now, to address the mental health issues of myself, I do have PTSD. I have severe and traumatic brain injury from concussions suffered in football. I received mental health from Region 10 for that. My PTSD was triggered when Heather Dyer was struck by the car. Now, I had a mutual friend that has passed away, and I'm going to read this. To the family of Sarah and Elaine Campbell, sorry for the loss of her life. I met this effervescent, vibrant, chipper, adventurous young lady when we were studying for the SAT prep in the summer of my junior year in high school. We began to date. Wavy black velvet locks of hair, tightly running down the middle of her back, slightly blowing with the wind, a lock of her hair touching her rose-petaled lips. As she smiles, that smile moving my heart to pump sweet vermilion, beating ever fastly as we looked at each other and went outside in the blue oasis and danced in the rain. Thank you for giving me an awakening to the possibilities of the future, to love. Make me cry one more time. Thank you for your chipper spirit, your beloved friend filled with tears and sweat. Thank you, Sarah Campbell.
Thank you. Let's give her time.
want to say two things. Want to say two things. One, because it needed to be said and it hasn't been said yet. This is not new. This is not news. This has been happening for hundreds of years. Nothing new here. Wake up. The second thing I want to say is I have, since the rally, been driving around chasing Nazis out of the neighborhoods in my area. Monday morning, 10 a.m. I went out to get eggs. I just wanted to get eggs for breakfast. We were out. I wanted pancakes. I drive to the store. I'm going home, and some assholes are driving around Rose Hill neighborhood, and I'm probably terrifying people just as much as they were, chasing after these guys. This isn't okay. We will protect our friends. We will protect our neighbors.
So, my question is, how do you feel as a man and women to allow this group, considered a gang, because that's what they are, to come into our community to disturb their peace? I have to explain that to my 4-year-old, why these people standing down here calling them niggers, calling them this and that. I have to explain to my 14-year-old, who clearly understands what's going on, because I don't leave her in the dark about nothing, why this was going on. You, as city council, need to pull your dicks out your pants and put your pussies down. Step up and be men and women and take control of your city. Because see, as I sit on the South First Street property, I watch your police officers come through, and you know, because I come to you. Another thing, stop being a bouncer for them. I watch them come into my community over a simple dice game and want everybody gone. Everybody gone. But you can go downtown, as I sit and watch on CNN, because I wasn't there, only because I had to make $1 to make me and my kids ends meet. Sit on the television and watch this young man get beat and your officers turn like that. Right? Right. What? 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 Are y'all serious? Guess what? If it was your kids, like Heather, what would you feel? How would you feel? Because see, not all of us are scared. And another thing, things can turn a different way. And if we take justice in our own hands, I don't think you're ready for it. Because if you don't remember, now you will, about the Watts riot. Is that what you want for your city? Because the next time they come back, I can bet your bottom dollar, it won't be free. It won't be leaving.
Go ahead, Sister.
I just want to tell you all, thank you. I love you all. I've been here for 30 years. I'm a white, privileged, Jewish woman, all right? I've never been rattled to my core. All of the neighborhoods that the police did not go into to save you or your children, I had some guy, a white guy, turn around and tell me, no, excuse me, a white woman, a Nazi white woman, turn around and tell me, I hope you get raped by a nigger. Wow. Now, I put my hand up to God for that one. I was sitting at the police station because I was helping out and volunteering for people that got arrested. I watched what the clergy members give me and my community so much love to be in St. Paul's, to watch those tiki torch fuckers march and terrorize those students in our community was beyond. You all talk about getting rattled and not sleeping. I'm not sleeping. I don't even like the way I present myself to people because I don't know how I'm gonna behave, because people that look like me won't fucking show up, and then they get mad because they're like, well, I'm not a racist, but I don't want to. Well, too bad. You gotta show up. You gotta show up to make something change. But I have never heard. Nobody protected the temple. Nobody protected those people. And I was marching with Rabbi Rachel and Rabbi Tom and just all of the clergy. All of them. It is disgusting. Disgusting what happened here. And my heart is broken for everybody.
Hey, sir, can you get some tissue? Sir, can you get some tissue? Here, Don. All right.
Oh, they told us we couldn't call now on the other day. We should have got unprotected and told to get private security. How do you invite Nazis into town with guns to run a synagogue? That is an assault. You left our city unprotected on Friday night. You let this happen. 300 torches. Where were the water hoses then? Stand around that one in the face with no weapons. How did you let 300 people walk through our city without stopping them? How?
How does the First Amendment and the Second Amendment go together? It's a bad brownie mix.
You should not respond.
Every time you respond, something bad happens.
No, you don't want to respond. You got to whitewash it all first. Because you can see, and you know yourself, and everybody who's observed knows that there was a problem with police protection and police action and inaction on the 12th. 9 days later, why don't you tell us what the problem was? You don't want to. As Mr. Jones just told you, Mr. Mayor, don't talk about it because we got to whitewash it first. Because that's what you typically do, is try to
No,
whitewash
Mr. Fogel,
the situation.
I said we shouldn't talk about it now because this is your floor. This is the floor for everybody in here. There will be
Okay.
an opportunity to talk about what happened on the 12th. We've tried to, and every time we've tried to say something tonight, we've been drowned out. So this is your night, Mr.
Yeah, well, you
Fogel,
can issue a
okay?
press release
No
the
one's
way the
trying,
mayor
no,
did
no
about
one
his
is trying,
wonderful approach to
no
the
one is trying,
legislature.
no one is trying to
We're
whitewash.
not getting any answers. Give it to the media, and we'll get it.
Well, there you go.
Okay?
That's, you
Mr.
don't
Fogel,
want to
please
hear
continue.
from us. Exactly, you
Mr.
don't want to
Fogel,
hear from us,
please
Mr.
continue.
Fogel.
Please continue.
Okay.
I'm going to restart your minute.
So
and
it was
take your
bizarre
time.
to me
Okay, come on.
that you put together an agenda for tonight that didn't include what happened on the 12th. You thought you could go ahead and talk about parking meters, or street lamps, or trees on West Main Street. How divorced from reality are you that you didn't even recognize that? Now, you told us not to go to the Ku Klux Klan rally on July 8th. You were wrong. All of you were wrong. The entire leadership was wrong. And you couldn't even recognize it then. So that when the Nazis came on the 12th, you still were taking the position, don't go there. Don't confront them. Lay back in your houses. Let them have the lay of the land. And you were wrong again. And now you purport to be leadership in the community, telling us you're going to help heal? You're going to bring Jeff Sessions, Justice Department here to help this community heal? How is this possible? Now, the real point is, to me, that now that the Nazis and the fascists and the Klan have left town, we've got to deal with white supremacy. And you are, unfortunately, the face of white supremacy in our community. And if you look at any objective criteria, you will see that black people in our community are second-class citizens. Infant mortality rates, life expectancy rate, income, wealth, housing, everything that you can think of that's an indicia of people's right to live a decent life has been deprived of black people. That is the real white supremacy here. That is why this council represents the face of white supremacy. This is what we have to deal with. We will come together and fight the Klan. We'll come together and fight the Nazis, and we will come together and fight all of the white nationalists. But we also have to come together, unfortunately, and fight with the very people who have been elected to do justice in our community, to provide equity, and to dismantle white supremacy in this community. Fuck white supremacy!
Thank you, Mr. Fogel. Let's give Mr. McCarthy his time. Tell me when you're ready, sir. Okay.
I just want to thank everyone who spoke earlier. Thank you for sharing your stories. It's very validating and cathartic to hear what some other folks are going through, and I know there's a lot of other people having a really hard time with this. Please reach out to therapy, and there's a lot of numbers out on Facebook. Go to the Surge Facebook page, go to the Clergy Collective, you know, everywhere, anywhere. Talk to some friends. There's a lot of folks in the community that want to help. I just want to say that on Saturday, a Friday evening at UVA, I was there, and then I didn't want to go Saturday morning because I was really scared, and I just wanted to stay in bed, and so I knew that there was stuff going on at 6 in the morning, but I didn't show up till like 10:30 or 11. And I just want to say to a lot of folks that that's a privilege that I have as a light-skinned person, as white folks and light-skinned people. You know, we can just not show up, and we can just stay in our homes, in our communities, and we'll know we'll probably be fine. But that's not the case for a lot of marginalized communities here, especially black folks and people of color, and I want us to recognize that. I'm good. I hope you guys can recognize that you have a lot of power where you are. You're in city council, you know people, and maybe you may not have official avenues that you can make changes, but you know that if you want something done, there's a lot more that you can do to make that thing happen. And I want you guys to really do that. And I know some of you have, but I think some of you can do a lot more. Mayor Signer, I know that you recently did the, you tried to get the General Assembly, the emergency session, but come on. I mean, this state is gerrymandered. You know that there's not going to be any change there. You know that. If at best you're being naive, at worst you're looking for headlines. If you guys want to do something real, you will organize exactly. Of course you're going to do stuff about affordable housing and dismantle white supremacy in all its institutional forms, but what you can do right now is you can remove that statue, put it in a museum. You may be breaking the law, but there are unjust laws. I think we recognize that in this country, throughout history, there have been unjust laws. And I think that you guys say you want the statue down. If that is true, take it down. You can do it. If you're worried about court fees, this country is behind you. There are so many people in this nation that want you to take that statue down. Start a GoFundMe. You'll get money. You'll get money. If you guys are looking for lawyers, you know that the best lawyers in this nation will show up to support you. This community we have put our bodies on the line. We are asking not just for words and empty gestures. We want you to do real stuff, even if it means breaking the law. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't feel like a terribly courageous person, but a courageous person brought me here tonight and asked me to come down here and speak with her. And when I was her age, I came from a non-religious family, but what I knew about being a Jew was that Hitler would have considered me a Jew and somebody to go in the ovens. And now that I'm an adult and seeing these chants come through our town, I mean, I can't believe it. But what I did notice when I heard them is that I'm okay. I am not the vulnerable population now. But when we said never again, we didn't mean just us. And where it started in Germany was with legislation, was with policy. And the white supremacy that we're talking about here is not the people who came here and benefited from the ability, like how cool and fine that is with Trump and everybody else. But it's within the policies, and I hope that what everybody's doing, how brave and courageous everybody's being, and we have so much respect for that. I hope that we can continue to do that and turn it into policy. And now I want to know what you have to say.
So, everything that's going on, just for us kids, it's just crazy how it's even more for us kids. That it's just crazy what's going on. And not that long ago, I thought Charlottesville was just so safe and you couldn't possibly be unsafe, but after everything that's happened, I don't think that's true anymore.
Thank you for listening.
So, Mayor, what do you got to say about a little child talking to you about this? What you gonna do now? You had a little child just tell you this. What you gonna do now? What are you gonna do now?
Let Ms. Schmidt, Brody, let Ms. Schmidt go.
I can't believe we're here.
Right?
A lot of people tried to sound the warning. We're taking.
Hold on, Ms. Schmidt. Is there a mic on?
A lot of people tried to sound the warning and weren't really taken seriously. And I know that the morning of Saturday the 12th, I was at the Jefferson School there and was there with Mr. Gathers there, and just as folks were preparing to march off to the park, you know, we gave each other a hug. His shirt was already soaked in sweat. It was only 8 in the morning. And he was crying. I was crying. And the reason I was crying is that I knew somehow, somewhere, somebody was going to die that day. It was already clear. Already at 8 in the morning, given what had gone on the night before. Because the city police hadn't protected the people at St. Paul's Episcopal Church where I was trapped inside. The university police hadn't protected those students. We couldn't count on law enforcement. Either we get excess force like we got on J8, or we got folks standing back and not protecting us. You know. And I'm really sad that those people died. And it's also it's a little sad that it's taken the death of 3 white people for more white people to realize the danger of white supremacy. People of color have been suffering for centuries under this. But it's only gotten that kind of attention, sympathy, as of late because of this. You know, take down those statues. That's just, you know, those statues, that's just, you know, it's just stone and metal. And these folks that came in for these rallies, they're here for a short time, although a lot of them still skulking around now. They've been chasing people around at Lowe's hardware store. They've been going to people's neighborhoods, and nobody ever reports about that. They only report when they show up in numbers. But they've been doing that. It's been going on for days. But it's not just statues, it's not just rallies, it's everyday white supremacy. It's, you know, lack of affordable housing, how black folks have been pushed out for so long. It's every day. It's everyday white supremacy we need to fight.
Go ahead, sir.
Hi, I'm Mike Johnson. I lived in the city for 37 years. I really appreciate what everyone's had to say tonight, and this is one of the best city council meetings I've ever been to in terms of actually listening to what people are saying and hearing it. And my perspective on it was changed when when the Blue Ribbon Commission came into being. I missed the first 2 or 3 meetings, but then I went to, either I or my wife went to every single one of the next, however many there were over about a 6-month period. And I was just shocked at how little I seem to know about the history of this country, of white supremacy, of what black people have had to endure for 300 years in this country. And I started to find out, I started to read books, I started to kind of question what was going on, and it's just shocking to me how little I, and maybe I'm not alone, how little I as a white person knew and understood about the experience of black people in this nation. I guess what was really brought home to me is the weekend of the rally. The night before, my daughter, who was just home from college, had a friend come and visit us. And I didn't know this person before. She had just met him, you know, in the last couple of months. She was away for the summer, and he came, and he was a young black man. And suddenly, they were going out to see the rally. And suddenly, I got it. I got it real quick. Because, you know, one of the problems is I don't really know many black people personally, and I've been trying to kind of reach out and talk to people and find out what are the experiences of people. Because it's not my, you know, it hasn't been my experience to be shot down by the police or have people in my family shot down by police or any of the other things that have gone on for so many people in this nation for hundreds of years. And so, to me, it just seems like part of the rage here tonight is the complete lack of understanding that this history goes back 300 plus years. People have been suffering under this kind of abuse for hundreds of years. And I had someone say to me, I said, you know, since I started going to the meetings, I started reading things and I started finding out things, and I said, you know, what do you think about this? And, you know, why are you not in favor of taking the statues down? You know, and he said, well, this is world-class art. And he said, I don't want to replace it with some paint-by-number kind of art. And I just said, wait a minute. I said, you're hearing what people are saying. You've read some of the books. What's up with the lack of empathy? I mean, is art going to trump the experience of millions of our people that live in this country? It makes no sense at all. And it just, again, I ask, you know, rhetorically, but for us to think about what's up with the lack of empathy? What is up with not being able to put yourself in the position of someone who has been terrorized for 300 years? Someone whose mothers were raped and children were sold and on and on and on. What is it about this community that does not recognize, and not just this community, but, you know, after going to 6 months of the meetings, I thought, really? Are we not going to take these statues down? Are we really not going to vote to do that? Is it art? Is this whole idea that white people have to be taught a lesson so when they go into Lee Park, there's going to be some other kind of, you know, debate going on where we're going to read signs, and then every black person that's going to come in, we're going to say, God, forgive me, I never understood. You know, it's just, I for the life of me, I can't understand that kind of thinking. And I'm glad now it's kind of late in the game that we have a 5-0 vote now to remove these statues. But the irony of this is that New Orleans, you know, removed 4 statues overnight. Baltimore did the same thing. It's happening all over the country. And Charlottesville, which began, perhaps, one could say, this modern attempt to remove these, could be the area where we don't remove them. And we continue to suffer the depredations of people like Trump and neo-Nazis and anti-Semites and white supremacists. So, thank you.
Hold on, before you go, Mr. Gathers, if there's anyone else, can you please come get in line? Excuse me, if there's anyone else, please come get in line. Thank you.
To piggyback what Mr. Johnson just said, Mr. Signer, Ms. Galvin, while there may be some appreciation and some understanding of your willingness to change your votes now, it bears recollection that you all are at this point 195 days and 3 bodies, 195 days late and 3 bodies short. And it's a sad commentary, and I don't want anyone to look at this as an alarm going off for a wake-up call. This alarm started sounding back in the mid-1600s. We as a people need to stop hitting the snooze button and not only wake up, but get up.
Good evening, everyone. I want to start off by apologizing to the citizens of Charlottesville for not being here earlier. I was one of those people on social media watching what was going on, and one of the earlier speakers put a call out, and they said, "You need to be here now." So I put on my shoes, I don't have socks on, and I'm here. And the reason that I'm here is because I've been a participant in all of this. I was an employee at one of the restaurants that were targeted. We were open on July 8th, and so I've seen it. I saw it in the face. I saw it for what it is. And after volunteering on August 12th and dealing with victim blaming and people trying to shame us for what we did there, I realized that some people aren't going to understand what happened, what is happening, until they stare it in the face. So now I'm asking the council, what are you going to do to stare it in the face? Because the only person that I've seen out there is Vice Mayor Wes Bellamy. He's the only one that's been out there with us. Thank you.
Next up, good brother. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
My name is Jason Lappa. I'm a homeowner in Belmont, and I've been a member of this community since the mid-'80s when I moved here with my family. I'm a photographer. I recognize many of you, not just from the city, but also people who have come to these meetings before. And I'm happy to see all these familiar faces at these meetings, but I like to see some new faces at these meetings, a lot of new faces. Like to see some new faces up here. I'm not going to get into that. What I came to speak on is I've been following this very closely. People who know me and who are Facebook friends with me know how close I've been following this. I was at UVA the night of the torch rally. Unlike UVA police, who were nowhere to be found, even after things went down up there, even after we were all maced and circled, it was something out of a Mary Shelley novel. You know, like, they come down and they circle. There's like maybe 2 or 3 deep, then 3 or 4, then 6 or 7, then 10 deep in a circle. Can you imagine being circled by angry white supremacists with torches, wondering what the hell is going to happen to you? And I'm sitting there looking around. Nobody is there. I passed 12 Charlottesville police officers on the corner that were down there that knew what was going on. I asked them. I have pictures of them. I spoke to them personally. And you know what they told me? One officer in particular told me that they were not allowed to go on grounds because the city did not have any jurisdiction over that area. The UVA would give them the call. Where was that call? Somebody needs to figure out what the hell happened with UVA, because that was the beginning of a lot of power shift towards these supremacists, because they knew once they had that power to do that, that tomorrow was going to be a cakewalk for them. And wasn't it? Do you guys not think so? Did they not have a cakewalk in our city? Doing whatever they wanted? Soliciting reactions that they wanted to get? Figure out what the hell happened at UVA. Somebody in this damn room, somebody who's listening, because that was a huge catalyst for what went down the next day.
Right. I have to ask one of the pages asking a question. Ms. Can I have 1 second? Ms. Johnson, just 1 second. I have to ask a question. Our clerk is asking us if we're going to proceed with regular business. I need to ask my colleagues if we'd like to do that. No. I mean, after everybody's heard. This can go as long as we need, but there are folks waiting. I just need to ask my colleagues. There are folks waiting to make presentations. We have staff in the back room. I just need to add, this is a courtesy to the folks who are waiting to, but do we want to do regular business? So probably take another hour, and I just need to ask you all that. Or should we postpone the 4 items?
Yeah, after we hear everyone out, and after people feel heard, then we'll continue with the regular business.
We also
Ms.
have
Akos, Ms. Galvin?
We also have the proposals that we've brought tonight in response to August 12th.
That's
that we
right.
need to get done.
Okay, so I think we may need to postpone the Woolen Mills. I think they may have gone, but other than that, I think the others left. But if we can still do it, so I just want to, okay, so we will hear everybody, but I just needed to ask everybody. Okay, so I'm going to let Paige know that we're still going. Ms. Johnson, I'm sorry, so please continue.
My name is Joy Johnson, and I'm so...
Hey, y'all, let's give Ms. Johnson.
Okay.
Go ahead, Ms. Johnson.
So, just kidding. I am so angry to the point that I can't even find the words. However, I have some questions. And the gentleman who preceded me asked the main question that's been resting on my heart. When I saw the area view of the lawn being taken over, where were the police? Now, the same people that you all, back in the Ku Klux Klan first meeting, the main people that you all classified as troublemaker were the people that was letting our neighborhood know how much trouble we were in, those troublemakers. So if they had the intelligence feedback, how did UVA, police, president, did not know that those people were going to be on the lawn? If my African American folks, brothers, sons, uncles, lovers, whatever, had gathered on that lawn, every last one of us would be in jail. Just like that. Two or more. 400? Right. And you didn't know that? There were area view. Plus you also had a speaker that was at St. Paul's, and you didn't know there was going to be there. But somebody just answered the question. The police officer, if it's, the true statement, answered the question. It was a stand down. Don't interfere. Why? Because there are white supremacists at UVA. There are Nazis at UVA. You can't tell me that was not an inside job. So that's for UVA, and who's going to investigate that, and who is going to apologize, and who is going to do something about that. They owe us a little bit more. Now, as far as the parking lot, when I saw the video of them assembling themselves, the Nazi, in the city's parking lot, saying, let's go get them. If that was my African American brothers doing that right near the police office, the police station, they would be in jail. How did that? These are the questions that I'm asking. How did you all allow that? I'm not even, okay, so they want free speech, they can march, they can do whatever, but they assembled in that same garage y'all are fighting over. That same garage that we have to park in. And then they beat someone mercifully in that garage. So those are the questions. Now, I've sit on boards with some of you all. I've sit in rooms with some of you all. So I know y'all will never listen to me. See, I know white men got power, white women got power, and then there's black men. And so I have to be heard. I have to fight all y'all to be heard. Not alone. Not alone. I'm talking about as far as status quo. So, for me, the statue needs to come down. But after the statue comes down, you still have to talk to me. You still need to be able to address race. You still need to be able to address classism. And let me tell you something. All up. Classism is my biggest fight. And if we don't talk about classism, we ain't gonna get nowhere either. Because see, race is ongoing that we have to talk about. The last thing I do want to say is, I went to the vigil. I was on the lockdown for Saturday because my children would not let me get out the house. But also, people who cared about me in the community and about some of our folks in FAR basically said, you cannot be on the front line. It's deadly. We don't want you all to be hurt. And so my children, I was pissed off with them, still angry that they wouldn't let me do it. They took my keys to my car so I could not come. However, I was on the phone waiting and texting and checking on people. But I did go to the vigil. And my grandkids did come to the vigil with me. And I want to tell you, the only thing that I can say, and the news media, they're all gone there, but I want to say to them, they need to just stop talking about 19 people got hurt. There were hundreds of people that got hurt, and nobody's talking about those people. Seriously hurt. It wasn't just 19. I even told Wes, I'm going to give that respect, because people are going to think I'm insensitive. But there were more people that was hurt. How come we're not talking about that? How come we're not inquiring about that? Have anybody called any of those people? You know, 45 ain't gonna do it. But have anybody called any of those people or find out just to be able to say, hey, you know, I'm here? Have you all done that? Have you all found? Because a lot more than 19 people got hurt. Now, last thing I want to say is this. Mayor Sigmund, I don't like for people to call me out, so I'm not going to try to call you. But you should have seen this and know that the community was going to react. Because when you try to move the liquor store, same thing. And then I saw you on CNN talking about 45. And I said, well, isn't that an analogy? Because you do the same thing 45 do when we come in this chamber. You shut us down. 3 minutes, you gotta go. You know, you do that. We're not being heard. We're not being heard. Kathy Galvin, I ain't letting you off the hook either. You hear us, but you basically always lecture us and tell us what is best for us. So, I'm still pissed. I'm still angry. None of the people I care about that was on that front line should have been hurt. Clergy? You don't mess with people, you beat up the clergy and you all let that happen? There's more I could say, but I'm just gonna go ahead.
I was present on Friday night at UVA. I was encircled by hundreds and hundreds of torches. I don't know how many there were. It was terrifying. I ran up last minute, and I did it because my adrenaline was pumping. I saw that these students were about to be encircled. I saw the live stream on the Daily Progress. I knew how many of them were coming, so I ran up. I figured one more body, I don't know. I didn't know what to do. I tried to get into the church way before all of this, but they were on lockdown. You all knew. Every single one of you was warned. It's been said, and I'm going to say it again. You all knew, and I'm looking right at you. You knew. We gave you the threats. You've been told this, and you know. We gave you real threats. They were aimed at people of this community. They were aimed at city council members. Okay? Hello? And you did nothing. other than try to, I don't know, what was this one thing that they did to try to do something, and then the ACLU got, you all should have been on this shit a long time ago. A long time ago, way before any of this, oh, we don't know which park we're gonna have it in bullshit, okay? Way before that. And after Friday night, I would like to know how the hell y'all let this shit go down. Amen. You all saw us terrorized. Those students were terrorized. I was terrorized. I'm still terrorized. We are all still going through it. We're all shaken. We're all pissed off. We all saw white supremacists, terrorists, domestic terrorists come in here into our city when we told you, fuck no. Yep. Right. And you all let this shit happen anyway. Yep. And I have had enough of this city council. I've been here. And I've warned you. I've had enough. We've all absolutely had enough. The statue needs to come down. You need to grow a fucking spine. Get the statues down, all of them. Get them down. They are being used as a platform for terrorists to come here and hurt people. And you all were fully fucking aware. Yep. You were fully aware. They terrorize people in neighborhoods. I live right by Friendship Court, and I love living right by Friendship Court. And I saw those people come out and terrorize people in Friendship Court. And what the hell was I going to do about it? I don't own an AK or whatever the fuck they are. I'm not trained to help anybody. And let me tell you what has been said about the police tonight. They did nothing. Nothing. I have video of me running out of fire, screaming, fire, fire. They're throwing their torches. I have this shit on video. I was screaming directly at a line of policemen right in front of me, about 100 feet, if that.
I saw her do it.
Thank you. Nobody came. Nobody. They were standing right there. And I know that they knew. I know that they knew they were coming because I talked to them on the corner at the church right before I walked my ass on over to UVA. So I knew that they knew. Y'all knew. Miss Sullivan, she knew. Teresa Sullivan knew. It's a bunch of bullshit that she didn't know. We all warned her hours ahead of time. I warned her. Someone called 911 from inside of that fire circle, and nobody came. You tell me why nobody comes when people are being encircled by fire by terrorists who may very well die, and I can't believe no one was lit on fire because I had gas all over me. I had mix all over me, and I was standing there at the medic station trying to help other people with shit all over me. And nobody came. Nobody came when I ran out, and I had that shit on video. And Miss Sullivan, her lying ass knew. She knew, and the response that I saw her give that student was disgraceful. It was shameful. The responses I've seen you give, Mr. Signer, are ridiculous. Mr. Jones, I don't know what the hell's wrong with you. You just read statements off. You looking at me right now like you ain't hearing a damn thing I'm saying. What the hell is going on? What the hell happened? Why did y'all drop the ball this hard? Why? Why? You have terrorized people. I have mental disorders. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little bit crazy. Okay? Okay? You can probably tell by how upset I am. I'm absolutely traumatized. I'm terrorized. And we have said the name Jason Kessler a million times. That he is evil. He is evil. He is crazy. He's going to terrorize us. And it ended up in death. And I knew. Because like someone else said earlier, I looked it in the face. On Friday night, I looked that evil right in the face. While they screamed dyke at me. While they said all kinds of other words that I'm not going to repeat. And let me tell you something. I don't care what you call me. I don't care. But I was almost killed. We were all almost killed. And that I care about. Because I care about my community. I care about, apparently more than you do. I care about the students there. I care about all of these people. And I cannot believe that you walked out of this room as many times as you did. You need to sit here and take it. Like a man. Don't you ever, and whoever slammed that door when they walked out of here, he said, asshole. Whoever slammed that door, whoever you are, I don't know which one of you did it, but that is shameful. You all let this city down. Let us down. lay down. You need to go home and lay down because you're not okay. You're in fight or flight mode, and you've been in it for days. And she was right. And I didn't sleep for 4 days. I didn't eat for 4 days. I know a lot of other people in here have felt the same exact way, and we're still going through it. And it is really on all y'all. Thank you.
Nancy Carpenter, what happened? I cannot believe what I saw Friday night. I'm going to tell you what, I was at St. Paul's outside for a while. I watched those proud pricks walk in front of the church, hooping and hollering. I watched the police stand down. I watched the police come to St. Paul's. I watched them leave. If it wasn't for community members that have been in this auditorium, I don't know exactly what would have been experienced by those people. I stayed at the church till the end, and I'm glad I did. There was one mother and one daughter left in that church who had walked to hear Dr. West, Reverend Blackman, and everybody else that spoke with a 10 or 11-year-old daughter whose eyes were big as saucers. She probably didn't know if she was going to get home alive. What happened to CPD? You want to bring these big-ass goons in here tonight to restore order because the community is upset with you all as our elected non-leaders tonight, and you want to know why we are yelling, why we are cussing? This is what happens when, for decades, the people that have sat in those chairs have ignored the people that have been out here. For decades and decades and decades. Don't look at me with frowns on your faces. That's just pretend shit. Yes. So what are you going to do next? Number one, UVA is as much to blame as everybody here on this chair. Teresa Sullivan is lying. She is lying. And I rue the day that I went up to stand with other people to not have her fired. Maybe she should have been, and perhaps that shit wouldn't have happened Friday night to those students. To stand there outside and know what was going on, but also know there were people that still depended on you at the church. That is something I hope I never have to decide again. Never. And then on Saturday, I'm at where I need to be, and I am watching urine bottles coming out of that park. I am watching shit being thrown out of that park. I am watching the clergy do what they do best and put themselves on the front line willing to die, and CPD and VSP, whatever. And it cost 3 people needlessly their lives. It cost over 30 people injuries that they didn't need to have, and you all were told. You all were told. I don't see how you can sleep at night. I hope you're not sleeping at night, because people here, I listened to them. They had the intelligence. I don't give a fuck what a federal judge says. Screw his noise. If people, we wouldn't have a constitution if there hadn't been people that said, screw that noise. We would still be drinking tea and, celebrating the Queen's birthday. Okay, so laws are made to be broken. Rules are made to be broken. We expected you to stand up. We expected you to protect your community. That's part of what you're elected to do. And I don't feel that you did it. I'm so ashamed and I'm so sad for people that had to reap the repercussions of what you all didn't do.
Good brother, before you go, do you mind if she goes? Because you already went, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
My name is Tracy Raffel. I'm a business owner on the...
Take your time. Nick.
I'm the business owner on the downtown mall, and I decided to not be open that day because I didn't want to put my employees or my customers in any kind of danger. I wanted to stand up and I wanted to say, fuck you to this group that came into our town and terrorized us. But safety took over. I first want to say to my brothers and sisters of color and of all different backgrounds that I am deeply sorry that I have turned a blind eye to our problem with race in this country. I have woken up and I'm pissed. I'm outraged. I have never in my life experienced anything like this, and I'm not even of color. I can't imagine. I was on the downtown mall. I mean, I was at the park. I was right up in it. I was right behind CNN and MSNBC while they were filming all of that. I was called a nigger-loving cunt. I was called a fucking dyke, a disgrace to my race. I was called all kinds of things, and I'm white. I'm so sorry. I'm deeply so sorry. I was spit on. I was charged at. And I was saying nothing. I was saying nothing. I had a sign that had a Martin Luther King quote on it that said, I have decided to stick to love. Hate is too great a burden to bear. My outrage comes from whoever, you all knowing that this group, what they stood for, you knew what they stood for, and to hide behind their First Amendment rights of freedom of speech. You know, hate crimes are still crimes. Hate crimes are still crimes, and that's what they were coming here. When I'm walking on the downtown mall on Friday night and I see a man and his son with shirts that say pure white, pure race, look, the kid was like 11. When I saw that, I was like, wait a minute, what's going on here? And then, Jews will not replace us? If that wasn't like a clue, I don't know what would have been. And then, I went to my shop the next morning and I was opening up my shop door for those who were too scared because there was no one there to protect them. No one. I saw the presence there, but the militia was out there protecting us. The militia was there to keep the lines divided, which didn't really happen, but they were there, not our town, not our city, not our people. I'm awake. I'm awake, and I want to do something about this. I want our community to come together, and I want you to make it happen. I want you to be a solution instead of the nodding heads. Yeah, they're there. I've been here many times, and I have talked about many things and came with solutions, and I was there and hoped I went away. Because you know how I know that? Because nobody followed up. You know, I have legitimate concerns. I'm a small business, and I mean a small business. And I have not been heard, or if I've been heard, I've been ignored. You guys need to wake up and smell what you're shoveling. You really do. We need you to have a solution. We need you to protect our city. And maybe you ought to call Boston and find out how to do it.
Sorry, I don't know which one was. Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Someone walk with her.
I'm not very articulate, particularly in a time of anger, such sadness, and disappointment. I apologize to this community. I've been here for 8 years, and I obviously have not been present enough to make my voice heard, along with all these other people. I was raised to love people because they're people. We're people. And there's not an ounce of hate in my body until the other weekend when I saw what happened. Y'all failed us. Do you realize this? So, at any point in time, I will walk with my brothers and my sisters arm in arm. But do I have to take arms? Do I have to carry a gun to feel safe? All I want to do, provide shelter for people, to grow food for people, to love people. That's what we're here for. To love one another. Why didn't you show this community the love that we needed? I'm so fucking angry. Thank you.
I wanted to say that the frequent calls for civility and earlier a speaker was shouted down because he said law and order. And I want to provide some context really quickly because that was not us, silencing somebody's free speech rights. That was a very visceral reaction to phrases that are coded and have historically been coded in contributing to the myth of black criminality, that those statements will always mean violence on communities of color. And expecting us to be calm and measured in our response is completely irrational at this point. It's ridiculous and it's completely insensitive. And furthermore, expecting people to be calm, measured, or to respond to violence, very, very real fucking violence, with order and nonviolence, is asking us to accept a death sentence.
The first time I set foot in these chambers, I was 15 years old, and I was an intern for the Seaville Weekly. And today, I'm a freelance journalist, and I do write for the Seaville, among other outlets. I was in the park. I was all over the city all day on the 12th, and I personally witnessed dozens of acts of violence against people within plain sight of police officers. Now, I mean, people have a lot of problem with police officers, but I'll tell you one thing, nobody joins the police because they want to watch a woman beaten bloody in front of them begging for help, which I interviewed a woman who told me the story, and I verified it, that her face covered for blood. She walked to a line of police officers, city and county, 6 feet away from them. They had watched. She begging him, please help me, please help me. The man who attacked me is walking that way. One or two of them met her gaze. None of them said anything. Now, nobody becomes a police officer because they think they're that kind of guy. It's not a coincidence. You have 1,000 first responders, I believe Chief Thomas said at the press conference before the rally. He said 1,000 first responders in the city, and all of them do the exact same thing. That's not a coincidence. So last week I sent a Freedom of Information Act request to the city asking for, I want a copy of the safety plan and the action plan that was put together for the city. I want to know where the barricades were set up, how this was designed, what orders were given. Under federal law, you guys got to give me this information, all right? And it's been ignored, so I'm asking for it again. Everybody wants accountability, all right? The way that you get it is these guys give this information to me and other journalists. I want a copy of the safety plan. I want copies of emails and memos that went between the city manager and local law enforcement and the state police. I saw Brian Moran, the Secretary of Public Safety. He was there. He was on the street corner. Who's in charge of the state police? That's Moran, and that's Governor Terry McAuliffe. You had coordination between the National Guard, the City of Charlottesville's police force, and the state police. That doesn't happen by accident. So I want copies of all these emails. I want transcripts of meetings and lists of who was there. And that's how we get answers. Thank you.
I don't want to take up a whole lot of time because I'm not actually from this city.
It doesn't matter. Take the time you need.
I was there on Saturday, and so many of my loved ones were there. And all of the things that you've heard tonight about what happened on Friday night, we heard that. Those of us who were not there also heard. We had our loved ones and our friends come back and tell us exactly what they saw, what they experienced, and they were scared to death, and we were scared to death. I'm going to look every one of you in the eye and tell you that when you have people come back, when you see a grown white man who looks like he could take a punch and give a punch and say he is scared for his life, we still went out there. We could have, I mean, when you leave here tonight or whatever decisions you make, if you're scared to make those decisions, think about the people that still went out on Saturday. All right? Think about that fear. Think about the fear that black and brown and queer people in your city have been feeling for months now. Are you gonna, I'm looking you in the eyes, so I want you to look at me. Think about that fear when you make these decisions. Whatever decisions, taking the fucking monuments down, if that's a scary thing for you, think about all these people who still showed the fuck up. I have one more thing to say. I realized after my first speech that you guys, I don't know that you guys will ever stare it in the face. So I wanted to put it in context for you. After an incident months ago with Jason Kessler, I was attacked, I was threatened, my life was threatened, my family was threatened, my husband was threatened, my 3-year-old son was threatened, and I was afraid. And I had to shut everything down, and we went into hiding. This is not an isolated incident. I am not the martyr for that. So many people have experienced that here. Being attacked, whether it's physically, verbally, online, they have threatened us for months. Jason Kessler has threatened our businesses and our citizens for months. My friend was threatened. She was doxxed. She could not stay in her home for August 12th. She showed up. She's now in the hospital with a crushed leg from Water Street. Tell me how you allowed this to happen. Tell me why Jason Kessler is not being held accountable right this second. Why are we still having this meeting?
Good evening, Melvin Grady, 238 Huntsville Road, born and raised in Charlottesville. I was at home watching all of this, and I went to the July 8th Klan rally. I thought it was an excellent job by police. They had barricades, we could shout out voices, the Klan could say Bible, B-I-B-L-E-L, but they had a chance. There was no violence whatsoever. I did not go to the August 12th rally. I should have been there. I wasn't there. But I watched it on the news, though, and I saw the clippings. I'm not going to bash or whatever, but I would just say this. I was in National Guard 14 years, in the Charlottesville National Guard. I know how riot patrol works and police works. My wife and I watched on TV the violence over and over again. The first thing we said was, where's the police at? Shocked, okay? I don't know what the plan was. I don't have to knock the police, but something went wrong real bad. Thank God no one fortunately had a hair, and the 2 police officers even happened to be there, but something went bad there. Then I had a friend of mine who was beat up in the parking lot. He worked with me at Buford Middle School, but he worked with me before I knew him, DeAndre Harris, directly across beside the police station. And then they showed the snapshots of police being at the police station. You know, I know they can't be everywhere, but it's I don't know. So to me, a review should be done, whatever, how this thing works. To my wife was coming down here. She said, "Oh, great, you know, you worked late tonight, had open house tonight at Charlottesville schools. I'm also a 20-year veteran of teaching. I'm at Buford Middle School. We'll see the kids on Wednesday." And that's another whole story there, how to react and see where they are. I just want to say this, though. A lot was said tonight, which I agree with. A lot of heated arguments, whatever. I ran for city council in 2013. Remember that, Wes? Okay. Remember that? Little card right here. Little something here. Big deal. I didn't win, thank God. Now I'm still at Buford full time. It always works out. God is good, by the way. I mean that. Let's go there first. Okay. Come back to that. A few of the things I stated was about children, community, and communication. Those on the city council now, and others, and those on city council now, I would at least ask you to do this. I petitioned for a, all right, I didn't do anything. The community petitioned for a hotel not being built on the corner of Cherry and Bridge Street. And the commission of your choosing said wasn't appropriate. However you want to do it, okay? I'm not great at words. But you said you could build a hotel there anyway, maybe some clause, I don't know. Okay, things like that. My point is this, though. I just feel like a lot of times, are you really listening to us? I've seen city council meetings where we're talking, we're speaking, and then it's just, okay, back to the business. I know it's about business. I can understand where you are. I'm not there, I can understand that. But you have to listen, though. I feel like you're not listening. And what happened on Friday, August the 11th, which I caught on TV, Dr. Cornel West, I love that man, and others were there and was rushed out, whatever. After that, and knowing who that was, seemed to me that like the decision would have been made to cancel the whole thing. We can't go back. I know you're gonna hear this thing. You gotta take this, okay? But to me, just as a casual citizen of Charlottesville for 49 years, all my life, I figured that should have been canceled. I just ask you this, and definitely the ones for city council. Listen to the people of Charlottesville. Don't just have us talk up here and then we leave and you do your thing. It's not about you. It's about us, Charlottesville. So, of course, the monuments go down. Monuments, though, that's a side issue. Knock them down. We have housing discrimination. The housing fund, there's no new housing being built. It's just putting in a little fund. Hey, developers, put a little money to the side to help poor folks, but there's no new housing. Think about those things like that. Listen to the folks. I'm not saying you got to listen. You can't take everyone's side, whatever, but you have to listen. Please try your best to listen. Also, I'm trying to run for, put a little plug here. I'm going for the Human Rights Commission.
You're already appointed tonight.
Thank you. And by the way, only because I mean well, not me, it's never me. I mean that. Please try to listen to us the best you can and make more informed decisions, because you had a lot of folks out there saying what's going to happen. I watched you. Come on. You know, they came, I saw on the Facebook with weapons. One guy hit here. And one lady was very articulate, too. Bring concealed weapons. That's serious. You got to look into those things. Listen to the folks the best you can and make better decisions the best you can. That's what I'm asking you to do. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
I'm not really going to say anything that hasn't already been said before, but maybe I can hammer the nail into the head a little bit better. I was there, as were so many other people in this room, as so many other people who are not in this room, and managed to stand up against something that you, sir, told us to stand down for. Because you thought it was better for them to spew whatever they were going to spew and have us sit at home and ignore it, and that would be better? When they said they wanted to go into black communities and terrorize people way before, when they said they wanted to hurt anyone who opposed them way before, and all of us told you, but you did nothing. I watched as there was just suddenly screams and a shoe flying, and a woman was falling into my arms with a broken fucking leg. And we told you. We told you this shit was gonna happen. My friend and I, as we were walking away from the scene, as cops in full riot gear were advancing on the people that hurt, and one of them laughed at us when we told them someone had died. I don't see any excuse you could give for allowing the things that happened to happen. You could say that they would have come anyway, fine. They probably would have. They definitely would have. But you could have at least stood with this community when we said we did not want them here. You could have at least been on our side. You could have at least, you could have done something a lot sooner than a few days before saying, oh, you guys can meet McIntyre and that's gonna be fine. You could have done something a lot sooner. If you're gonna do something like that, weeks in advance would have been preferable. Or you could have just denied it. Thanks.
Who's up next? Okay.
I won't waste too much time, but other people touched on this, but it's far from the most important thing. But something I've thought about tonight is, we as a community just have to continue to organize, and we need, if people are upset tonight with Mayor Signer's actions, we need to organize to make sure that Mayor Signer's hand-picked successor to City Council, Heather Hill, is not elected. Because we have other options. We have the power to change it, and we can come up here and talk all we want, but if we don't change the composition of City Council, their decisions are going to change. That's all I had to say.
Who's next up?
I wasn't going to talk tonight because everything I was going to say has already been said, but I just wanted to second what the reporter said over there about that. My wife was downtown and saw a crowd of men beat up a woman counter-protester. She was shocked at the time. It was early in the day. She turned to a police officer and said, "Are you going to do something about that?" And the officer said to her, "I'm not getting involved in that." To be honest, we were shocked. I mean, we went to the, we were at the Unitarian Church the next day, and somebody said, white people in this community have the luxury of being shocked by some of these things that black people aren't shocked by. But
we've been going to jail forever. People now lose their kids and families, getting beat by your police officers. So that's our daily lives. Why y'all shocked about 2 days?
I don't know what to say, but you guys need to know about that. That happened. Thank you.
I wasn't going to talk. I spent Saturday over at the Haven being concerned about how the homeless people wind up going into the park. And so Eddie and I decided to talk the Haven into staying open, feeding them lunch, and keeping them in a safe place. But periodically walked out and saw stuff that was going on because we were right there. And it wasn't until we left and I turned on the TV and started watching what I hadn't seen and was absolutely appalled over the police, which I had seen standing in lines, not doing anything. So I picked up the phone and called the police station. And I said, why isn't the police doing anything to protect people right now? I was totally shocked at the answer. The first thing the guy said, and I didn't get his name, was, I'm getting calls from all over the country. And the second thing was, we had a problem on the 8th about what we did. So we were asked to step down and not do the same thing on the 12th. So they did nothing. Coming into Charlottesville, I thought I was hitting Shangri-La as a white middle-class woman with all of the neat beautiful stuff that Charlottesville has. And then I began to scratch the surface of what Charlottesville was about and began to learn about Vinegar Hill and about stuff that was happening throughout the history of Virginia, because I'm a New Yorker, if you haven't heard it, or a Miamian for part of my life. And the community has known, people who've sat on the council have known about the problems that have existed here. And tokenism has been done to try to do anything to change it. When the Orange Dot report came out and started pointing out the poverty, there was shock. Oh my God, in our Charlottesville, I agree with Janelle, am I saying your name right? Jolene, that it takes white people who are killed or hurt or scared to make the big stink that we're seeing, or what Joy Johnson said, that it's economics, and that economic, the committee in the city that handles economic development is looking at high-end stuff to bring in the tax dollars and forgetting about the disfranchised people that have skills, that want to create businesses. I tried to set up a co-op conference. UVA had no idea what co-ops were. Economic development said, go ahead, Joni, great ideas you have. Go ahead and do it. The city, the counselors, this community has known about the problems that exist. When something is wrong, whether it's the law, do you go along with it? Do you say, First Amendment, the judge, I might get sued, I might this, I might that? Do you ignore it, Bob? Do you ignore it, Wes? Do you ignore it, Maurice? Do you ignore it, Mike? Do you ignore it, Kristen? Do you ignore it? You don't ignore it. You have to. And we haven't as a community. And right now there's a love fest going on. And excuse me, it's bullshit.
Thank you. Thank you.
It is now time that we not ignore housing, businesses, opportunities that have been ignored for years have to be addressed. And if you can't do it, then what people are saying, step aside and let people step in who are going to really deal with the problems that are sitting in our entire population, not just some. And unfortunately, it's the white people that all of a sudden have gotten so shocked that have brought out this anger, this upset. But it is this opportunity now. We're all over the world. Little Charlottesville is all over the world. We could react to this for a short period of time and then let it pass, just like the shock was to the Orange Dot report, or the concerns that people have consistently, like Joy, has consistently driven everybody crazy. It's now we have to do the real stuff, the real work.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, council is much more interested in giving tax abatements to high-tech firms, to a precise point, and not
Thank you, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Devin Coles. I am a husband, I'm a father, and I'm a pastor. And being the person, first off, let me say this. Being a pastor, I oftentimes get criticized. I don't like what people say, but never do I walk out on them. And the reason I never walk out on them is because I have to hear their thoughts. I have to hear their emotions. And in order for me to move, I have to know where they are. So I have to meet the people where they are. So if you want the folks to stand by you, you have to stand by them. But I didn't come to say that being a man in the position I am, it's becoming difficult to tell people to hold their peace and let the Lord fight the battles. It's becoming difficult to tell people to wait on the Lord and watch him do his work when all I can think about in the back of my mind is if you live by the sword, you die by the sword. And so it's difficult for me to tell my children to continue on when they're afraid, they're nervous, they're scared. They're scared to even come out of their house because they don't know what they might run into. They're afraid for daddy to go out and do what it is that daddy needs to do because of what they see. We yell Black Lives Matter, we yell All Lives Matter, but the question is, do it matter to you? Does it matter to you? Before I go sit down, there's a scripture that comes to mind, and it comes from Romans, the 12th chapter. And it says that we ought not think of ourselves more highly than we ought to. But we all should remember that we are one body. And even though we're many members, we're still one body. My question is, are you part of that body?
Thank you.
My name is Ebby Safran, and I work at the Haven, and Joni and I were there all day trying to keep our guests safe. And we left around 2 o'clock. We went back to my place and put on MSNBC, and we started watching what was going on. And I know that you have heard many people talk about how the police just stood there. And within 5 minutes of watching TV, we saw a Nazi pick up a Seville kiosk and throw it at someone, and skinhead attack someone, a protester. And so we looked at each other and we said, we're going to call the police, which we did. And that was the context for what Joni said, is that he said that we had been accused of being heavy-handed during July 8th, and we didn't want that to happen again. And we were incredulous. And that has been magnified all evening. I think this is at the heart of it. We said if a black man had picked up that kiosk, the police would have gotten him in cuffs right away. Or shot him, whatever. That's it.
Thank you. Ms. Carpenter. Ms. Carpenter. Ms. Carpenter, before you go, do you mind if some of the ones who haven't spoke yet go first? Is that okay? Thank you. If you haven't spoke yet, please come. Thank you.
I'll just start with my name is Scott and leave it at that. I live along Cherry Avenue. We've witnessed here tonight, many individuals have testified beforehand, before August 12th. They have come before this body, and short of imploring something being done to change the course that unfortunately befell this city. Now, my question is this: of all the consultants and planners at the disposal of your whims, why wasn't it anticipated? At the very least, at the decent minimum, to perhaps enact a curfew so that at least something small could have been done to have changed that ruckus that occurred on UVA campus. And I'll just finish my remarks like this. I heard it mentioned earlier. The William Taylor Plaza. Well, people in the neighborhood, I remember that. That thing's gone up lickety-split. I just hope, along with some of the other in state of unfinished buildings going up in this city, that we are not creating more landmarks. Please do your duties as counselors. And you have tonight. You've given the ear to these folks. For God's sakes, at the minimum, truly listen and measure your responses. And for goodness sakes, anticipate and try to address the needs of a public that comes before you.
Thank you, sir. Just like to state before the gentleman goes, Ms. Carpenter, we're going to finish it up with you just for the sake of time, because I understand that my colleagues still would like to move forward. So, Ms. Carpenter, you'll be last if we all can be mindful of our comments. With that being said, the floor is yours, sir.
Hi, my name is Dave. Mike, can you please lock your phone, because I saw you typing away during the entire time that that previous gentleman was talking.
I apologize. I am corresponding and trying to figure out some business for later on in the meeting. I really am
So
sorry.
I have a message for you. That's why I want you to lock your phone.
I'm sorry.
Is that you need to resign immediately. Immediately, you need to resign because you're not being held accountable. Before tonight, we knew that you were a political opportunist. As soon as Trump took office, you declared us the capital of the resistance, but you have not resisted anything. We know what you've been up to. You've been finger pointing and dodging accountability. You've been waging economic warfare on the people. This council has waged economic violence upon the people. You all voted 4-1. Ms. Sakos was the only one to give Dewberry $1 million. When you want to, you can't rehab Friendship Court. You want to remove people of color and poor people away from downtown. You haven't addressed homelessness, but where did the $1 million come from to go to Dewberry? It came out of our pockets. You voted twice to keep the monuments. So I don't care what you say today, your vote is on the record twice to keep the monuments. That's an abomination. When you granted the permit, when this council granted the permit, you all pointed the fingers to the legal people, hiding behind dubious First Amendment claims. Other cities have canceled permits, canceled rallies, and pulled down monuments. So we see exactly what you all are doing. Right now, you guys are trying to point fingers at each other. You're hiding behind a technicality when you say that police operations aren't under your control. You told that to the Guardian, you told us tonight. That's why I couldn't go home without speaking, because I had to call you on your bullshit. The city manager and the police serve at the council's pleasure. The council serves at the people's pleasure. So no more finger pointing. That's why nobody wanted to hear what you all had to say today, because it was just going to be a bunch of bullshit. You guys are pointing fingers and dodging accountability for what the police did, or rather what they didn't do. So we hear you and we know the way the city works, and we're not going to keep falling for it. But what we didn't know until tonight was that you're actually a coward. In addition to a political opportunist, you're a coward. You tried to intimidate the people by pointing at the police at the beginning of this meeting. That was intimidation. Where were they? They arrested more people tonight than they did on Saturday. And what's more is that when we didn't stand for the bullshit you guys were going to try to give us tonight, when we started to speak up, you fled the room. We couldn't flee on Saturday because this is our city. You ran out the room at the slightest time of us speaking up and standing up. The whole city, the whole world is going to see you fleeing and seeing you for the cowardly mayor that you are. You said the technicality, which we're not buying bullshit, that the city police is not, you don't have operation control. If you don't have control, are the police accountable to no one? We demand a civilian review board. We don't trust your bullshit investigation of the police. We need independent, Wes, make this happen. We need independent, outside investigation of the police. We need a civilian review board to review police action, because we need to bring them under our control, because you just said that they're not under your control. Furthermore, let's remember, when the police left this room, we still had an orderly meeting. We don't need the police in future city council meetings. We can police ourselves. We're a community. So Mike, call a press conference, apologize, and resign immediately. That's
So, as a follow-up question to that, I've heard tonight that you all don't have any influence with the police, and that you all don't have any influence on the UVA campus, and that a federal judge who doesn't live here can tell you whether or not you can have a rally here, and that a state house who isn't located here can tell you whether or not you can pull a statue down. So what exactly can you do? I reported the terrorists to you in July because I thought that you were the elected officials of this town in charge. And I continued the conversation with you because I thought that you all were the people in a position to do something. But from your mouth, it has been made very clear tonight that you are not the person in charge of Charlottesville. So my question to you is, who is? And why have we abdicated that power to a body or bodies outside of this locality?
It's the I'm sorry, I don't know. I mean, we have a city manager, form of government. Everybody in Virginia, other than Richmond, has that. It goes back about 100 years. So Mr. Jones is the CEO of our government.
So then when the flaws in that system have been made,
I'm not
when the
answering the
flaws
question.
in the system, though, but then if you didn't have power to protect me, why didn't you tell me on July 6th so that I could talk to the person who does?
All I want to say is, there's more to come tonight about a review that will be,
But you knew my life was in danger.
All of the questions can be answered, and it has to be done carefully. But
you knew that our lives were in danger.
No.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. Please allow me to finish.
Please.
Okay? So I was under the misguided information that you had the power to protect me, that you and the Charlottesville police had the power to protect me, and so when I saw danger, you were the one that I called, and the Charlottesville police was the one that I called. I told you that I was in danger, and you led me down the primrose path. You led me to believe that you were in a position to protect me, and that you made the decision that all of this danger had to continue. You should have told me on July 6th, I am sorry, citizen, I cannot protect you. Here's the phone number you need to call. And so my question is then, who is in charge of Charlottesville?
The city manager.
No. Well, but that's why is it so confusing? It shouldn't be this confusing.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we finish? There are other folks who want to speak, and then we can answer questions. Why don't we do that?
Good idea.
Why don't we do that?
Is that okay?
People don't answer.
But I think for all of us, it should be unacceptable for Mike to continue to throw other people under the bus like he has done since he's been on the bus.
Yeah,
So that's an issue too.
Just answer the question.
But it's not. You hung us out to dry, and you haven't apologized. And there's been no public statement from the Charlottesville Police Department. And your only statement was to call on apparently some outside body who's actually the one who has power here to make decisions in Charlottesville. I don't understand why the statues can be coming down everywhere else. I don't understand why the rally permits can be revoked everywhere else. And so I guess I'll go ahead and wait for the answer to that question. But what I need from this board is the phone number of the person who can actually make a difference in this town. We need to change. You've proven you can't do it. I want to know who can. I want to leave this room with a phone number.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your patience.
Anup Gampa. I've been listening to my community for the past 3 hours. And from what your responses have been, it seems pretty clear. At best, dear City Council, you're useless. At worst, you're responsible and complicit.
After you, ma'am.
So this is super scary being in front of you all, but not as scary as standing in front of people that were willing to kill me and my community. So I'm gonna do it. I wanna speak to two things. I wanna speak to trauma, and I wanna speak to how what you did was worse than nothing. You have a town that is suffering from trauma, a town that is triggered and sensitive. Streets that will never be the same. I couldn't take my kids to the library today to watch a first in a lifetime event for them, the eclipse, because I saw people's heads get bashed against the ground. I watched over 300 white, entitled men descend upon my community. Just days after our community witnessed a car driving into a street full of people, our city took jackhammers between the memorials and installed controversial parking meters that are an attack on the poor working class of Charlottesville. We came to City Hall to stand up against white supremacy that exists in our city, and you threatened us, triggered, traumatized people with large white armed men, and told us that you would have them take us out. That is not responding responsibly. That is not how you treat a community that's scared. That is not what I teach my children. When something is wrong, we stand up for it. No matter the consequences, we don't let bad stuff happen to our community. Enough is enough. Enough. You didn't only do nothing, you also gave the Nazis a platform. You gave them a platform and you showed them that you would do nothing. You showed them and you allowed them to come. You showed them by July 8th what would happen, and you showed them before then when you gave them that permit.
I've never lived in Charlottesville, but I've lived in this community my entire life. And on the 8th, I saw our people of this community come onto the streets and safeguard the community. After the tear gas was lobbed at people who live here, the medics, the elders, the community came and took care of the people that were gassed by you all. I didn't see a single uniformed EMT on High Street that day. That was on the 8th. That did not do anything to prepare me for what was going to happen on first Friday night. My friends and I knew, with a fucking 10-year-old laptop, we knew that the Nazis were coming to the university at 1:50 in the afternoon. And please, do not pretend like the county, the city, and the university have some fucked up collaboration together to not talk to one another about stuff. I am tired of it. If that is the one thing I can do in my life is to get this 3 parts of this community together and work together, that's what I want. I am sick of the city suing the county and the taxes and the university, and everybody can point to somebody else's fault. So, a whole bunch of people, every single group in this city has worked together this summer behind you all because you will not come out and talk to us. A whole bunch of us worked to have a meeting with the police chief. He canceled on us. It made us look stupid. It made it look like we didn't have any credibility in this town. That lasts with us. The people who live here and who make this their home, we have to live here. And people who come in from outside and then go off, man, you live here all your life and you get angry about that. Lawyers gave their time to write briefs and sent them to you. Business people got together and they worked and they tried really hard. And nothing. And I mean, we're just people. And there's accountability on you guys. In order to get elected, you have to do shit. You have to like go out and shake hands and you have to raise money, and it's a game that it's hard to win. It is hard to win $20,000 to get your seat. Thank you. That has never happened here before. You changed the game here. And now, how is somebody who's not going to raise $50,000 going to get elected to be on city council? I hope to God Nakai gets on. Even now, I don't even live in this city. Even now, people are reaching out to me because we can't get the hundreds of thousands of dollars that people have been pouring into the city to get to the injured people. You all know who we are. I have met every single one of you all, and you can't reach out to the people who are doing the work, and you know that we've been doing the work because we've been contacting you. So, do some work to collaborate with your community. You've got some fucking smart, dedicated, passionate people in this room, and you're condescending to us.
The reason I'm back up here, I've been asked to pass on some additional comments for some individuals. Apparently, and I agree with this, that it looks like on Saturday the city might have been more concerned about their business district than communities of color that were perhaps under the literal gun of these neo-Nazis that invaded Charlottesville. Number two, there have been several of DeAndre Harris's assaulters. They are known. Their names are known. They have been identified. And
they're waiting for CPD to do something.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. You know, why haven't they been arrested? You could arrest 3 people here for nothing. Why can't those people be extradited? What is the holdup in getting the extradition from out of state? There is no excuse in a terrorist attack for that to happen, okay? Absolutely none. Thirdly, Albemarle County, don't let them off the hook either. They have a lot to do with it too. You know, I didn't know until I saw some intelligence that some of those neo-Nazis queued up at Walnut Creek State Park. And they just watched them and just let them go on their merry way instead of letting the community know. So they're not off the hook. They got some meetings coming up here pretty soon too, so I hope there's a contingency that will show up with me. And we're going to let them know what we think of them as well, okay? Because some of them are up for re-election too. And there are plenty of people that were on the streets that were not just city residents, okay? Some of them from Albemarle County. And I do want to follow up with one last quote, and I'm done with my comment for the night. It's attributable to Black Aziz Ansari, and you've seen it through Facebook. If someone kidnapped your child and sold them, where would you want us to put that statue of that person?
All right. Thank you. Okay, let's take a 5-minute break. Everybody go to the bathroom. We'll figure out about the rest of the agenda. We do have some items on. We still have our remarks that we would like to make after this. So we'll go. We need to go do a little bit of business about what we're going to do the rest of the night. But if everybody could reconvene and, Ms. Sigas? Yeah.
I was just going to say there were a couple of really specific questions. Are those going to be answered after the break or now?
As many as we can remember. Yes, ma'am.
Are you gonna take down the
I think it would be,
Write down the question.
I've got them.
okay, let's take a break. We'll be back in 5 minutes.